Looks like this long weekend is ending with a roughly flat open for the S&P 500. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ, which appears to be slightly more positive here than the SPY. Looking like we're going to be opening slightly green. And of course, we have to take a look as well, as we have often lately, at USO. Looking at like a slightly red open as of right now for the USO, though we do still have 90 minutes until that opening bell rings at 9:30 a.m. Now, of course, USO on heightened watch after we seem to get some kind of initial works towards a peace deal between the U.S. and Iran, as confirmed by mediators Pakistan and Qatar. So lots to talk about in the Middle East region of the world, that is for sure. Just to do some housekeeping today, no big economic data to be aware of. At 9 a.m., we're going to get comments from Fed's Waller. So if I get anything of note there, I'll keep you guys posted at this desk. Lots of tech stocks again on watch here. Intel with a pretty big hiring announcement. You've got Micron as well with earnings coming through on Wednesday. And more analysts weighing in. I was actually seeing that this whole memory sector doing the best so far in terms of pre-market performance on the S&P 500. Seagate on watch, as well as WDC, and of course SanDisk. Seeing Amazon prepare for its Prime Day event, which kicks off tomorrow. There's a lot to discuss. Sharif, good morning. How was your long weekend?
It was fantastic. Thank you, Adira. I'm just computer's not ready, so I won't be able to participate at the moment. I'm sorry.
No worries. Yeah, there's a lot to discuss today. We'll also, again, we mentioned Intel, talking about Micron, Apple getting hit with a downgrade today. The $315 price target still a premium from where we're currently trading. Robinhood also in focus here, announcing a raise. HOOD, at least initially, was trading lower on this announcement. So lots to discuss, lots to be aware of, and we're very excited to welcome Neil and Sean back. Good morning, guys. How were your long weekends?
Fantastic.
Very, very excited.
Hope everyone enjoyed their Father's Day. And
my computer's not working either, Neil, so you just got to take it over.
Mine's not working.
No, we're fine.
But my coffee's working just fine.
We're working here. I came in and my computer was taking a minute to load up, but now it's fine. No, it's fine. It's all good now. And I tried blaming Joe for that as well. So. But that didn't work out. Yeah, no, coming in today with another flattish day on the market. I thought I saw a headline yesterday. There was some sort of a deal done, but
yeah, the markets are.
We'll have to see.
The markets kind of felt like we're at the same spot, and we had the Fed, which was sort of either way last week. Like you could say what you want about the first Fed day was like negative, and we're positive the next day. So we're kind of we could be in a weird no man's land until Micron reports on Wednesday, right? Like that's the big catalyst, right? Like can they put up the big numbers and all of the? If you look at DRAM this morning, it's up. So most of the chips are up. Like Intel has good news. SMCI is actually up. DRAM's up 4%. Micron's going to be the biggie this week after market on Wednesday, and by then it's probably made another couple all-time highs because, well, that's just what they do. So it's up 4% going into the print, and another shot at another all-time high close. So the thing that's looking bad, I mean, SpaceX is down 5 points. It's more of like a continuation from what we saw last week, with this couple of red days. So, yeah, chips mostly strong for now, but anything can happen on that Wednesday. So I still kind of feel like Micron's gonna trend higher, and then they'll probably sell off a little bit on what will be big numbers. It's just a matter of what the market decides to do with it. But
we had Pfizer trading lower here.
Yeah,
SanDisk is
up. A couple of big deals in biopharm.
Is there? Okay.
Yeah.
Intel up 3.7% again here today. As Adira had mentioned there, some of the winners will just probably keep on winning. We hope everybody, had a great Father's Day. Wow, 137 for Intel. Yeah, wow. Okay, that's all-time highs right here today, up another 3% there for INTC. What did we wind up having? We just, like I was saying the whole time, we wound up going to my parents' house and had burgers there. What did you guys wind up doing?
Ended up getting steak.
Oh, steak. That's right. You mentioned that.
My dad's a very. I wanted steak, but my pops is a steak guy too.
Steak is good.
That's the way to go. Although Erin, when we went to the restaurant, she had lobster tail.
Oh, nice.
Like, lobster's her thing now.
Yeah, I know. That's once they find something like that.
Like, came over. She's like, "Can we get like?" You can try other things.
Surf and turf. Surf and turf.
She doesn't really like steak.
No.
Nah, not a big fan.
My kids love steak for some reason. But okay, yeah, 65,000 for Bitcoin. I mean, that's trying to hold out force here as well. I think the market's not doing a whole heck of a lot. I mean, the ES rate here is flat, if not red. Yeah, down 0.6. NASDAQ 0.16 right here today. Yeah, there's Bitcoin starting to go a little bit. So I think I liked this trade if we're going to think about something long. today, IBIT and Bitcoin trying to hold out for the 65,000. I think we can try to break that here today. See if there's some movement to the upside. Just going through the watch list, Apple down 1%, Robinhood down 2.5% there. They have another $2 billion private offering. Okay, for Robinhood. So that's another name that maybe gets hit early, if anything, and then battles back. I mean, I think when they drop these offerings, you get these instant sort of reactions to it, and then right back to the upside as people realize it's not that big of a deal. $2 billion through private offering convertible notes, so that's fine. SpaceX down 4%, not great there. KeyBank stock initiated them with a coverage with a sector weighting. Sector weighting. What kind? SpaceX sector? They might be in their own sector.
Yeah, it's a weird one. I think it could be like industrial, but
yeah. The firm highlighted Starlinks. I guess that's what you could do. Starlink and Starship, their V3 AI-related coverage here. So I still like SpaceX. I mean, we traded that there on Friday, and on Thursday, we were able to get long again around that 173 or 4.5 marker. Looks like they're going to get another opportunity to buy those dips here. Still waiting for that 150, I think, where a lot of traders missed out on that first day because you were very nervous about what's going on. And this is kind of the way, IPOs wind up working. A huge couple first days there, followed by some settling down. And then you are supposed to get some upgrades and downgrades coming through at some point. And then I don't even know when their earnings report, what sort of schedule that is like. But once that comes through, you see if we want to retest that 150 mark, and then we try to go from there. So, and then I saw that Apple was also down 1%. So I think that if there was, again, a name that maybe needs some get up to it, maybe Apple trying to break through 300. I mean, we were testing there on Thursday. I keep saying Friday. On Thursday, and then it's a nice move down there. Oh, heard something about Google there. November Oscar Kilo. Oh, Nokia doing something with Google. Oh, we got a good report from Nokia. I traded that there on Friday. It was right into, there was some sort of volume spikes there on something on Friday. I said it again. On Thursday, right into there. So we'll see what happens with Nokia coming through.
Everyone knows when Friday gets said a bunch, obviously it was a holiday, and we meant the last U.S. trading session on Thursday. It is different. Like, it's weird, right? Like, I'm used to.
Well,
it didn't feel, for some reason it didn't feel like a long weekend.
Do we have more Mondays off or Fridays off, generally speaking?
I'm just thinking it didn't feel like a long weekend for me. It was too busy.
No, it didn't feel like a long weekend. We were at the ballpark once, and then the 6 games she had, they went 4-1-1. Yeah, they lost their last game, the championship game. So
hey,
that kind of.
As long as you get to the ship, baby.
Yeah,
Nokia's actually moving on that though.
Yeah, it's just wow, nice little move up there. News with Google there, Nokia. So
that could be because Google's actually in the news the other way. Like, if you look at them on a watch list, they're one of the megs that's actually down because they lost it was on Friday. They lost a DeepMind researcher over to Anthropic, and so down a couple of points. Maybe not the best, but this is look, I feel like we're just kind of consolidating here on Alphabet, but there's a lot more, I guess, interest in its space names, it's the memory names, and the megs have kind of been like left on the wayside. Because if you look at it, like the whole data center, if it's a data center in space idea, and that's where everyone's thinking, there's some other sides to that theme. If it's going to be cheaper out there, then there's going to be some distinct winners. Like I actually wonder about, 5 years from now, some of the traditional data center plays like Vernova's back to the highs and like CAD, like what happens to them if it's just cheaper to go out into space? For now, everything's all good. And we've been talking about a theme because we always get so many questions about things that are trending down. Sometimes finding something in an uptrend and buying the dip is just a little bit better. And that's what happens, right? Like you find something in that uptrend, it pulls back 20, 25%, and then they go higher. Maybe Micron does that. Vernova already did it. But a lot to watch. Sharif, you know who's in the watch list today? ASML. I know it's a company we like, but apparently the machines are making it to China. Not that any shareholders care because this is about to hit 2,000. They need to split this thing. 2,000. Of course, trades primarily in Amsterdam, but yeah. Another chip name, another all-time high. It just seems like a broken record, but in bull markets, I'll play that record anytime because we like it.
Yes, I did see that, Neil, and obviously it is a concern. The Americans have been putting a lot of pressure on ASML, not just for extreme ultraviolet, but to actually sell what was previously allowed, the deep ultraviolet lithography machines. So more pressure, of course, on the Dutch to rein in ASML, Adair.
Yeah. Speaking of ASML, we're going to talk about Intel in a minute. I also want to mention, though, this Nokia story. Again, I know Sean and Neil went over it. This was posted a couple minutes ago on Google Cloud's blog or website here. Nokia and Google Cloud partnering to embed AI agents built with Google's Gemini models into Nokia's autonomous network product suite. So we already know Nokia and Nvidia have had a partnership. Google Cloud partnering with NOK as well. So that is the story there, just to be aware in case you missed it. Here is that headline. Let's talk here about INTC, because we mentioned Google getting some turnover, losing an individual, which we'll talk about in the watch list, but Intel gaining a pretty notable individual here for their foundry business, Sharif.
Yes, I have the Mizuho upgrade today for Intel. So interesting look over here. Mizuho security analyst Vijay Rakesh increasing the price target from 128 to 135, but he did strictly maintain that neutral rating, which we'll discuss why in a second. But the crux of his upgrade was focusing on improvements to the server CPU demand, as well as a possible 10 to 15% long-term advanced packaging market share projection. This is something Intel's been doing a lot more at their Arizona fab, because we haven't really seen the chips really come off the line yet. A lot of it is based on packaging. However, internal modeling is warning that Intel does face very severe structural manufacturing supply constraints that are going to basically bottleneck some of its output into 27 and into 28, because demand, according to Vijay Rakesh, will remain high, and their production capacity will be constrained going into at least the end of the decade. But there's also the RAM pricing here and its effects on the PC market. We've seen some weakness in the PC upgrades, especially coming out of the pandemic, and they're saying that the price of RAM is really not going to help that, as people probably try to stay away from having to upgrade. And last but not least, 30 to 40% gross margins. So this is something here that the bank is reminding institutional investors about, that the foundry business is targeting margins of 40%, which is pretty low standard, Adair, for this kind of business.
There's another catalyst here for Intel as well. This came out Thursday after the bell, hiring the former CEO of SK Hynix, Seok-Hee Lee, to lead their advanced packaging push. So this individual is going to be the executive vice president of Intel's foundry business, reporting directly to Intel CEO Lip-Bu Tan. Good look for INTC, again, saying the former SK Hynix CEO to lead foundry, or at least help lead foundry. Also a couple other big tech headlines here, guys. SpaceX apparently kicking off its first ever US dollar high-grade bond offering. This was reported last week, but I guess kicking off today. Microsoft also announcing that they're expanding capacity, adding a data center in Pecos, Texas. So how do you guys feel about INTC here, or any of these other tech names?
All-time highs Intel.
Yeah, it's been a good
It's
one.
like this year has just been ridiculous, especially like this name's up like 2.5x. Even if you just go from, forget about it. If you take the best prices, you're up like over 3x from like the April lows, which is just unbelievable. But you know what? The trend is your friend until the end when it bends. You got dual news stories that are positive here, both new leadership in the foundry business, and they're going to catch an upgrade just as we're kind of heading on into what obviously is Micron's week, because they're the only big name reporting. But so far in the pre-market, it looks like a slide back into like a test of prior highs is the game. It double topped on Friday at 135. That's as good a place as any. For me, you show me like a continuation play, double top, even closed at almost exactly 134, so that even gives you another level to work off of. 133.99, we actually closed that. But look at all the consolidation up there. So there was tons of chop, 34 to 35. That's going to give a good landing spot, I think, for Intel, as the market's more or less flat, but has been slowly grinding higher. This has been a little bit of profit taking, so I'd expect that maybe into the open, pull into that prior high. We can grab that, and I think we got some super chats up here.
Oh, good.
So Monday morning super chats from Dave. What up, Dave? Say hi to my buddy Sandeep, watching for the first time. Hey, what up, Sandeep? Enjoy.
What's up, Sandeep?
He's a wheel options trader. He's asking about Micron. His words, will sell it off after the earnings. Neil, he just said that. Yeah, but that's just what Micron's done the last few times. Like, I'm not It's not anything profound. Like you've been seeing like the pullback, even though they beat the numbers. Kind of like how Nvidia turned into that. You know, no matter how big it is, it somehow trades lower regardless because they're just not impressed enough with the numbers anymore. We got Venus Swing, PLN. Thank you for the super chat there. What's PLN? Hi, Neil and Sean. What do you think about UMC short-term or long-term perspective? They just forged foundry alliance with Intel.
They did?
Yeah, they're a big...
United Micro.
Yeah, United Micro. Saw them on the Gapper list. You're not going to day trade this stock because it doesn't really do any volume. But up 13 points. Like, this is... Like, so many of these. They're so hard to chase. And I know it's... Here, I want to pull up a... Let me give a weekly chart before I actually... move on, and we'll double click because I want to full screen that one. If you look at this one, like I've always said, the longer the consolidation, like the better the break. It had a long 6 to 12, like back and forth for at least like 3-4 years, basically doing nothing, and then it broke and did the next double up in just a matter of months. So it feels a little bit like that's a big time move. Momentum's with you, no questions asked. It's like a difficult one to chase because it did the measured move already from that 12 to 24. I wish this was more day tradable. If this did better volume, it actually has a good setup. Well, in theory, it has a nice like breakaway setup. But I'm more of a buy dips on trend nibblers and chase the highs kind for myself. But yeah, it's another great story. What are you going to do? It's up 300% from April. It's the same, basically the same, almost the same chart as that Intel, about 200 and, actually no, Intel's up more than 300% from April as well. So this is about the same thing. You can't lose with either.
All these stocks are
they're all
great stocks.
It's just hard to chase up there.
We want to thank KC here today. 10 memberships. So thank you so much for another 10 memberships there. Hope that you guys were able to grab those. And of course, you'll be access to Sharif's morning note. And I think, was it you, Casey? Someone said they made was it TNON? I just saw. Someone said they made their morning already on this same was it TNON? 10 in Meta. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, there it is. So 70 cents. Whipping around 40 million shares here for TNON, up 100%. And yeah, the news on this one, let's have a quick little look here, TNON, see what's going on with this one here. 5:28 a.m. this morning. 20 stocks. Friday they had a move, after hours move on them. It's despite a drop. They're just talking about their move down here. Precarious moment optimism, NASDAQ compliance issues resolved there. So hopefully they can trade above that dollar and get going. There's probably more news. We'll look up some more news on TNON, but there it goes today, up through 70 cents. Trying to hold it now. VWAP, we've got that going on, and we've seen this kind of a name move around before, so watch out. Looks like 80 cents and 80 to 90 cents has been the top, so I feel like whoever made their couple, I think they said a couple days worth or whatever there, the 2 times daily goal, that was a nice move, up all the way to $1 and then fading back in there. So I wonder if it was a long or a short that you made on. Watch out if you have to pay for shorts. 90 cents right there, your 200 period moving average on TNON. So that looks like a good mover happening today as well. So yeah, a few things going on there. We want to thank everybody, of course, for all their help and support on the super chat front, and keep those coming and let us know if there is any other names you want to talk about. When you came up to us with Intel, we're gonna have hopefully we should have Michael on today. I didn't check the calendar, but Nvidia 210, that's a nice little level there. I think we can watch out for today. Bounced around there on Thursday, so just wanted to see. Nothing really moved at all until there was the imbalances and all that. And I was even talking about how you got some fake moves up, and it was a good opportunity to take advantage of some of those. There was a few moves that went to the downside there, and I can't remember what names they were on Thursday, but that was there. So remember I was talking about if you were an options trader near the end of the day, you probably got some good movement there to the north side and able to bring this back in. So it looks like that's what's sort of happening there with Nvidia. We'll see if it goes to the downside there. SpaceX getting rejected. I saw SpaceX was moving higher here. SPCX. What was that story? Projects significant funding requirements.
Yeah, so this comes after they apparently are doing some kind of senior note offering.
Okay. Yeah, our that doesn't work there, Andre, on the Unity, still not working. So, so there you go. So SpaceX right here, that's just a projection. I mean, I think we all know that they're going to need significant funding, probably from here and space and beyond, there. It's unlimited funding, I think. Was Toy Story out this week? Did anyone see
record,
that?
yeah. Well, I mean, every Toy Story has been like the best debut, but it did.
Oh, did it?
It did break the Toy Story 4 record, so. As usual. They get that one right.
Yeah, they get that one right. And I guess now you're going to have Taylor Swift win an Oscar now, unfortunately, for everybody that does not a Swiftie. So
well, what are you going to do?
She's going to add the Oscar to her thing there. Apparently, she's one of the songs is hers. So.
Yeah, I think it's the main song. But.
Yeah, something like that. All right.
Winning.
We're getting ready for options. Joe's going to have some talk about options. But, I mean, the things that keep on going, and we talked about this last week, man. It's like Micron. It's just Keel, another stock there. I talked about this last week. Like, now it's too late. I mean, right now you're starting to go, if you wanted to play some options, I think there was, opportunities last week or 2 weeks ago when we had this little dump down knowing that you're coming into Micron earnings. Very, very risky to start buying things at these highs, but I mean, the demand's not going anywhere as PC demand still kicks through, as AI demand. I mean, it's an absolute workhorse, this name. And I do feel like on Wednesday, there's nowhere to go, but maybe slight dip. I mean, I remember when SNDK reported, they went down and we were, doing the night, we're doing our after shows there. And this went down to $1,000 on their earnings call. Now it's $2,200, $2,300 for SNDK. So it's like you had an opportunity again to get some longs there at about 1,000, and even then it was crazy. I had sold that sheet down where I wrote that down about Joe. I picked SNDK, and that was just because of the momentum. I'm not long in my own account, but this just continues to be amazing. The fact that I'm not long in my own account is quite ridiculous. Like, this has just gone straight up. It would have outpaced absolutely everything that anybody held in their accounts over the last year, and it's just absolutely mooring. And I'm not sure it won't do it again. I'm not sure this thing just keeps on going higher based on, the supply-demand equation. But SNDK, Western Digital, we had Seagate to that. We started talking a little bit about that. And even that UMC you mentioned, names that you never even really thought about, just keep on going higher and higher. So I don't know, man. SNDK, just an absolute monster.
It's got to have a couple in the old portfolio.
That's crazy.
Speaking of, I do see a certain, I can read it up there, what's on the options board. And it's memory again, Joey.
No surprise.
All right, guys, good morning. Let's take a look at some of the options activity from Friday, guys. We're going to be heading over to this Friday's expiration cycle. Across the board here, DRAM, SanDisk, and Western Digital. But we're going to start at the top of the list here, guys, at that $80 strike price. Open interest sitting around 9,400. And then we have 16,000 contracts open and closed on Friday session at that $80 strike price. On DRAM, 16,400 at that specific strike. Now, SanDisk, Sean mentioning this. I remember during the earnings report, we were covering this. You get that dip below $1,000. You get 100%, over 100% from that point on the previous report. So a big time move here in SanDisk. And I wouldn't be surprised, just like the boys were just mentioning, if this move is continued. Now, moving forward, let's take a look at the open interest. Substantial size there, guys. A lot for this specific name. And then the volume also sitting around 1,000 contracts open and closed at that specific level. Now, Western Digital receiving a downgrade this morning, guys. This isn't a name that we typically talk about via options, but I thought it was interesting and we may as well stay within this specific sector. Strike price $750, once again expiring on the 26th. Open interest sitting around 6,700 contracts, and then, 679 contracts, and then volume around 404 opening closed on Friday session. Now, we had a super chat regarding this name. Now, this is a deep in the money contract, guys. I just wanted to bring it to you, and then we're going to talk about the options pricing here momentarily, but let's look at some of the other metrics first. And we're going to kick things off with open interest. 17,000 contracts still open at that $1,050 marker. Now, as for the volume, sitting around 2,360 contracts open and closed on Friday session. Now, as for our bid in the ask, you can see the spread, right? These are expensive contracts. We're talking about $1,300 here for these specific names and $1,200 on the bid if you're looking to write. So when you have a contract that's this expensive, you're going to see a higher increased spread between the bid and the ask. Now, as for our delta, I'm surprised. I thought we would see more of a 1-to-1 on the contract here, but considering reporting on Wednesday, maybe some implied volatility is already starting going to be priced in this specific name. I would be looking for this delta, considering it's so deep in the money, to sit around that $90 metric, but that's not the case right now. The volatility is high, and we're only sitting on a 70% chance that that contract is going to expire in the money by the end of the week. Now, as for the implied volatility, we're sitting around 121%. Now, I wanted to focus on this contract specifically is we see that this name day after day, week after week, just continuously putting in all-time highs. That's not necessarily the case here with this specific contract, even though it does tap into a $1,440 high. So that's pretty expensive, right? $1,400 for that specific contract. But what I really want us to focus on is that from the peak here, the previous peak, $130, to us trading around $40, that's a 75% decrease. And to be able to stomach that in this specific contract isn't the easiest thing. And we don't always see names recover this strong, but eventually once it did form that base, this specific contract eliminating all aspects of theta almost at this point and recovering and then putting in a new contract high on Thursday's session of $140. We'll be back momentarily with some upgrades and downgrades. Let's send it back to Neil and Sean.
Thanks, Joe. I was surprised that Joe said the Western Digital got a downgrade. I would argue, well, I mean, it doesn't really matter the argument. This one has actually been the most parabolic, I think, over the last week or so. Like WDC, it's almost like it's finally accelerating a little bit more with the rest. It's up 5.5. I think the others are all like 4 to 5%. Today I'm talking like the SanDisk, the Microns, DRAM in general. But this is set. I mean, this is really accelerated. It has a double top, 800 break. It's another name that probably should split. They should all split. SanDisk should split. Micron should split. WDC. They should just all get together and decide to split on the same day. Just make it nice and easy for everybody. You know, we'll all do like
give everybody like a panic, a heart attack when they log into their accounts.
Right?
They don't realize that they split, and they're like, "What?"
Everyone
Like,
freaks out.
I just lost so much.
Oh no.
Money because my stocks are now down 10 to 1. It always takes a couple minutes to settle those out, eh? And then people
It always
log
happens
in
in the pre-market.
and they always message us and they're like, "What the
What's going on with this
hell?"
stock? Don't worry, it's okay.
Sky
Adam James is
Q?
still abroad, so we like Sky Q, CRMT. You liked Worksport last week, right?
We did have Worksport. They were his former sponsor.
Yeah, I remember you liking Work. I'm pretty sure, Adam, correct me if I'm wrong, but you were mentioning Worksport last week. It's trying again today. See, now on Friday, I just said it again. On Thursday, it broke the $1. It just couldn't hold the $1. Now, this is usually the problem. Is you can break $1, you have to be able to hold above. Otherwise, like $1 just turns into a little bit of resistance. So it was more, I felt like I liked this one more if it could have held on day one, but I wouldn't completely sleep on it. Maybe it can do the re-break of the $1 level. It's only 13, whatever, like now 16% up. But this gave the entirety of the move back. So you better retake that $1 level so the others look a little more interesting. And we've got Red, and from TikTok as well. Good morning to you. Good morning to all of our viewers.
Good morning, Red.
Not just here on YouTube,
Red's,
everywhere. TikTok, wherever you guys can find us. We have the best community out there. You're in the right spot. All the action today in the chips, all the action in SpaceX will be there for you. And Dr. Shuttle, I see you in the chat mentioning AMC. Was that up? Yeah, it's up again. Mm-hmm. So another 5%. Hey, this might not be the most exciting, but if we're being real about it, this is up, I think, 250% in the last few weeks, and we've had good box office numbers. There's momentum to this name. Like it or not, AMC is absolutely on the move. No question.
And we've been talking about AMC for a minute because of the hot movies that were coming out.
It's been a great summer so far.
Yeah, we talked about Toy Story. You saw what Backroom was able to do as well. Is it eggs today, Randy, or what?
What we got?
Dumplings again? Oh my God, these guys are all about.
They love the dumplings
They love
lately.
They absolutely love the dumplings. But I was looking at Google going short side right here. I mean, it's the only name right now that I have on the locator on my sticky note right here. It is on our watch list, so the Google short right there, down 2% here as we continue to get a little lower into 360. Oh, Andre's switching over Unity. We didn't The Unity server was not working this morning, so hopefully it's working soon. But there it is, down 2% as they lose. It just made a note there. On Friday, they lost. Some guy named John Jumper jumped ship over to Anthropic, apparently. John Jumper jumping ship to Anthropic.
Shocking.
So in an AI sort of, he's just an engineer there apparently, as an AI boom continues. And it's just so funny because, do you remember Meta and Zuckerberg there he was giving out $100 million contracts to AI guys, and then now that he gets them in, and I'm not even sure they know what they're building anymore as we wait to hear what that next step. And I think everyone was very disappointed when, their big announcement was that they were starting to charge people for different tiers and the use of their large language model as well. So we'll wait to see what winds up happening with Meta. Hopefully they can right the ship there. And whenever I think about people leaving companies and, signing big deals, Meta and Zuckerberg did take a few away there from OpenAI and Anthropic as well. So I still think Meta has something brewing, and it should be a good stock in the long term. I still have a lot of Meta shares. But we'll wait to see what happens with Meta there, down 0.41. And even Microsoft can't get out of the way. We got, Marvell, all those names sort of entering into the S&P 500. They had a huge move. And I took some out there at it was literally 329. I mean, we did it on the show. We missed our 330, then we put a 329 in, and we got that basically in the last half hour to an hour. And then the imbalance came out the wrong way. And this was a name that we were saying, okay, the imbalance came out as sell. Everyone was expecting a buy. There was quite a dramatic move to the downside there. Let's see if Marvell can now hold out for this 310 area. Another spot that's been a bouncing spot for them. So we'll see if Marvell can hold this 310 area with huge move down there on Friday on the imbalances. We're going to see if it can hold that. I think it does. And I think this is a name where I was saying you could probably gain some value there just by playing this move down and hoping for a little bit of a rebound, as nothing changes in the company, just the direction of those imbalances forces, a move downside. So that's what's happening there with Marvell. And then I did think that Robinhood this morning on that $2 billion financing offering was probably hit too far, but now it's battled back. So I was going to, I'm looking at 105 basically for Robinhood right now to see if it does come back in and try to hold that, because it's been on a real nice run. And I think we talked about the PDT rule. We talked about how crypto, I like IBIT today as well, as crypto bouncing back a little bit helps the Robinhood sort of feels, right? And so we like that one. And then I haven't looked at SoFi in a minute, but did that get close to 1750 or something? Yeah, so there it is, 1775 down. I guess it got to 18 or so on Thursday, and now it's back in again. So that's had a nice little move. Not as good as Robinhood, of course, off those lows, but there's a couple names to look at here today. Yeah, BTC up, so we definitely like IBIT. I mentioned it earlier, I will be on the IBIT front today. I think that 36 is maybe a little too low. I don't know if we get all the way down to 36, but something to look at there, IBIT, where the 200 period moving average is. Between 36 and 36 and a quarter, I think I like IBIT if we do dip down. But a whole bunch of stuff happening.
Yeah, we got another one. I know we have Michael coming on in a quick little second, but from Adam, it's Adam James again, and you're still abroad, and you got, here's a message for anyone with cojones. NXTS, 500,000 float. I'd look this up and be like, come on. Well, I believe you. I should just to be safe. We'll look this one up. These float. So you have to remember, I see 600,000, but who cares? 500,000, 600,000, infinitesimally small float. That's the driver oftentimes. But this actually doesn't look ridiculous, NXTS, and they do have a story here for Nexentis. Okay. So Mitoline algorithm platform, both biomolecular structure. Okay, so this is going to be a yada 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 science one. If you're into reading press releases that you need a degree to understand, then this one is for you. It's going to be about the short float more than anything else that's going to drive it. But it was moving last week, so it's worth mentioning, the 6.5 area. Even if it dips, you're at $8, you could dip into 6.5, and that's still above last week's highs, where it was doing a little bit of volume going into this. So I'd watch out for this, but probably very pricey to short, and then 500,000 on the float just means it's a halt it's a high percentage candidate.
Right. You got to be brave to
like
trade
it's one of those where I would suspect it's going to halt multiple times today. And yeah, good luck if you're even brave enough to short that. Personally, I wouldn't. But let's get back to the desk. We got the NOS boss in the house, Mike.
Indeed, we do. Excited to welcome back here at Stats Edge, Michael Noss. How are you doing this morning? How was your long weekend?
I am doing fantastic. I don't know if you guys have been talking about MindMed, but yeah. I've been talking about how much I own of that. So it's a good day around this house.
Awesome. Congratulations to you and everyone who owns that MindMed or that DFTX. I understand you want to talk about buying the SPY following sell-offs on Fed Day. We know we had our first Fed under Kevin Warsh last week. Let's get right into this because it's very interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And a little bit late on this one. I think I meant to do it Friday. Completely forgot that Friday was a holiday. So I hope everyone had a great long weekend there. But I just wanted to talk about, the statistics behind Fed days, because I heard a lot of kind of fear when we had that Fed down move that, this is going to be the top of the market and people should go to cash and, all the same kind of, I guess, worry mongering that you see quite a bit out there. So like I always do, I want to look at the statistics behind it. So I just went and I said, okay, what happens 1 day, 5 days, 1 month, and 3 months out? So there was 212 instances of FOMC meetings that I was able to find and find data for, and 94 of them were sell-offs. So right off the bat, you know that it's roughly a coin flip, roughly 50-50, whether or not you get a rally or a sell-off. There doesn't seem to be any predictive action of who the Fed chairman is or what kind of market condition you're in. Some days we're up, some days we're down. And day one after, you can see this chart where the dark green area is the day after a Fed sell-off. And the light green is simply just a random day because we have to compare it to what happens on average with the market. And you can see on day one, kind of a coin flip, we had a great day. After that, of course, on Thursday, 5 days out, though, it's pretty significant, right? 0.3%, doesn't sound like a lot, but we're talking about the S&P 500 here. So that's a pretty significant move and beats, you can see, just buying on a random day. And then on 1 month out later, now we're beating buying on a random day by about double. And then 3 months later, we're still beating kind of buying on that random day. And the reason, again, pointing to randomness is just to show that there is an edge there of when the Fed kind of spooks everybody to potentially be sitting there and wait, taking this data and using some price action and watching the market. So you're not just buying falling knives, but saying, hey, there's more of a probability that we are up than we are down a little bit later. So that's something that I should watch. Now, this next chart is just showing, as opposed to the amount that we're up or down after, just the probability that we are up or down after the Fed day sell-off. So again, day one, like 50-50. Whether or not you're up or down, again, in this case, we were up a little bit, but 60% chance you're up after, and we're always anchoring to the close of that Fed day candle, that sell-off. 60% of the time you're up 5 days later, and then 70% of the time you're up a month later. So that, again, starts to paint the picture of a pretty interesting trading strategy that you could potentially look at. The next chart is the last chart. I love spaghetti charts. So this is a spaghetti chart, and essentially just means that each of these lines is what happens on a Fed day, and then what happens as the price action goes for 3 months out. And you can see one really bad one, and that was actually that was COVID. So that happened, there's a Fed meeting, and then there was COVID. I don't think those two are related, so you could almost take that really bad one out of your mind. I don't think they caused COVID. So, but you can see most of these lines are actually above the zero line, and most of the lines are going up and to the right. So most of the time, after a Fed sell-off day, there is some type of recovery in the neighborhood of this, say, 3 to 5%, as high as 10%, a little bit out. And the dark line, that's just your median, your average of what happens after a Fed day sell-off. So it's very interesting. And then the last bit here is just from Marty Zwag. And you guys probably heard me talk about Zwag when it comes to his breadth thrust. He was a great investor, and he's the one that coined the term, don't fight the Fed. So every time you hear, don't fight the Fed, you should think of Marty Zwag. And it's one of those, it's a bit of a butchered saying, right? I'm not going to read all of this, but number one of these are his 17 rules of investing. And this is where don't fight the Fed comes from as a saying. Number one is the trend is your friend, don't fight the tape, right? And all the way down at number 6, he says, don't fight the Fed. And then in brackets, he puts less valid than number 1. So meaning, doesn't really matter what the Fed says. Don't fight the Fed unless we are in an uptrend and unless the trends persist. So I just wanted to put that in there just to show every time someone says don't fight the Fed, just make sure you remind them that there was a little asterisk there.
Very much appreciated, and thank you for going over that. I really love this type of data analysis. I do have one question. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit more, perhaps, subjective, but I'm kind of curious, knowing that we do have a tendency to have these sell-offs on Fed days that then oftentimes, and again, we can't speak in 100%, but probabilities will get higher later. Would you then say, does it make sense for traders to potentially get ready for buying the SPY, or at least getting positioned to the upside on these Fed days? I guess what would be the thoughts on preparing to position into this?
Yeah, now that I have seen this data and spent the weekend going through it, that's something I'm going to add to my trading strategy, right? My trading is a whole bunch of these, statistical edges that are just kind of lying around. I just try to add them all together. And this is going to be one. I think you could express it through a little bit of price action analysis. Like if the market on day, 2, 3, 4 are just falling all the time, maybe you don't do it. But I'll be looking for some key reversal candles after a Fed sell-off, and I think it's a pretty interesting strategy backed up by some data.
Yeah, it's also really interesting to think then when it's up on Fed day, how much of an outlier that is as well. So maybe some more food for thought for everyone. Thank you so much, Michael Noss, for this PowerPoint. How could the people find you if they want more information on what you do?
Yeah, as always, Stats Edge Trading is my website, and then Michael Noss CMT on all socials. And thanks for having me.
Thank you very much for being on. We'll see Michael Noss CMT again on Friday at 8:30 a.m. Have a great one. Thank you.
Have a good week.
You too.
Friday morning, bright and early, Michael Noss will be making his return. All right, guys, let's take a look at some of the analyst actions here this morning. We're going to kick things off with some downgrades. At the top of the list, the name that we've been talking about quite a bit here this morning, Western Digital, with the downgrade going from an outperform to an equal weight here at Fox Advisors. Still up 5% here, though, guys. Cleveland Cliffs also getting the downgrade. We're down 2 3/4 here, going from an overweight to an equal weight with a $12.50 price target. Morgan Stanley giving them that downgrade. And then we also have Seagate Technologies here, guys. You're up 2.3%, going from an outperform to an equal weight at Fox Advisors as well. STX is that ticker. Now, Apple surprisingly getting the downgrade, down 0.75% this morning, guys, in the pre-market, going from an outperform to a hold and a $315 price target at KGI Securities. Moving forward, let's take a look at some of the upgrades. At the top of the list, we have Super Micro up 3.5%, going from a hold to a buy and a $48 price target. GF Securities giving them the nod. CarMax also getting the approval here, guys, going from an equal weight to overweight. You're down 1.5% here, but a price target increase to $66. That's coming up from $43. Stevens giving them the upgrade. Now, Novo Nordisk also getting the nod. You're up 2.6% this morning, going from a hold to a buy and a $350 price target. DZ Bank giving them that nod. Now, ConocoPhillips also getting the approval here, guys. You're up 1.4%, going from a neutral to a buy and a $130 price target. That is up from $124. Let's send it back to Neil and Sean.
Yeah, still surprised by this Western Digital downgrade, but, like to each your own. The analysts will be...
Gone too far, maybe.
Yeah, sometimes a little too far, too fast. But the upgrade from SMCI, don't look now, but that's off of some pretty big lows. And, it's made a consolidated bottom. The highs, about 32.25 recently is the local high the last couple of weeks. So that's a potential... it's above it right now, so it's not technically a breakout through that level because it broke pre-market. But this almost looks like a continuation. This will be on the secondary list. Like Intel today, it's got some news on it. I'll add SMCI as well for a bit of a continuation because it's got everything going for it. As long as it can hold. The prior high is too far away because it's upward trending, but it's got VWAP going, 31.5. Just a lot to like here. 5%. But also, just one note on, because Apple was on the downgrade list, and fine, the megs aren't really doing much of anything this morning. They're all down. But Apple has been holding the 50-period SMA on the daily very clean. It's clean, but there's some wicks underneath. So if you look at it today, at 294 support, if you dip down there, like the pattern has been, it'll get down to the 50, but then close above it. So I think maybe looking at this to hold the 294 level actually looks good as well. So SMCI, I mean, that's an upgrade that looks strong. Apple, that's a downgrade that's on support at that 94 level. So I kind of like that as well here for AEPL. But it's not that it hasn't really been momentum-wise the morning for the Mag 7 names at all.
I know I used to have some MindMed, but I don't think I do anymore. This DFTX just continues to go. I mean, this is up 65%. This is what Michael, I don't know what the news is here, but this is a nice move to the upside right here for DFTX. So I want to say shout out to Scott H there in the chat. Yeah, Sharif's got this one as well, I guess. And there it goes, upside. Again, there has to be, there it is, LSD based. Okay, so that's good. Blah, 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 primary endpoint. So this is the kind of stuff that you're looking for when you're trading these names is, you know, results that can hold. It looks like they're going to get that there today. And now it's up. It was just up 65. Now it's up 69%, trying to go higher there. And, you know, it's all clear skies now. They switched over their name, went from MindMed. And I was just looking at, you know, this is more of a daily chart for them. And if we go back even into a weekly or a monthly or something, you know, it was left basically for dead. I mean, it came to market, was obviously pretty hot there. And then it got crushed down. It was MNMD was the name, the symbol. And now it's back up to and we just saw what, $40? So this daily just isn't updating right here, but you're back into this area. So just looking for past highs, $43. I mean, this is a brand new area now because whenever you start to get, you know, new results coming through, you can clear out everything because, you know, now they've sort of met what they need to meet as far as they just talked about there, the endpoint. Well, it's right there, the phase 3. So, you know, once you're at this level, it's all aboard. So I would say probably profit taking will come into the name at some point, but nicely done, really holding VWAP. We tested VWAP a couple times. We held every time, back into $35 again right now. So should be an exciting trade today, DFTX. Only 2 million shares, but that's going to get ramped up as this market becomes open and then we get some halts. So this name I'm pretty sure will halt. I mean, even right now, we just moved to 42, back into 40. You know, no doubt this name will be one of the movers there today. I want to thank Scott and everybody else. Michael brought it up, and anybody that's been holding this one, congratulations. DFTX now up 65%, so you got yourself a runner there in this name. It's probably a tough one to load up on, but, you know, there's the break, and there it goes. You know, when you break on trial news, it's not the same as, like, just seeing the momentum and breaking higher. This is, I mean, just as good, just if not better, right? 65%. But that's just a sweet break on the daily chart as well. So this name looks like it wants to work out, and good job there. And congrats. I know Sharif's been talking about this for a couple minutes, so that's definitely a good one there. DFTX. Sharif, open up your account today, man. I'll put a smile on your face. As will the Egyptian win there yesterday, as I was watching it there last night, and I said to
what'd you think?
My son there, I was just like, I should be betting on Egypt the minute New Zealand was up 1-0, because it was plus 400 for Egypt, and I was like, I didn't know. I'm obsessed with all these teams making it and Italy not making it, being 12th ranked. So I immediately looked up New Zealand and I saw 85th rank, and I just said they're going to be outplayed.
It was the same thing when Germany was down.
Yeah,
was down as well.
Yeah, exactly. I just think that
they had a good first half, though, Katina, man. You got to give them credit.
Yeah, I didn't really watch. I'm sure they had a great first half, but I just thought the players outclassed at some point. It's like when you're watching sports. Yeah, it's just like there's minor leagues and major leagues for a reason, and that's why I was saying that I think a lot of the players, and I don't know this to be fact, but like the Premiership, Serie A, some of these bigger leagues, your players need to be playing in those leagues.
100%.
Right? And I just think that,
playing the best.
Yeah, and I just thought that Egypt probably has more guys playing in those leagues than New Zealand.
Yes, they do.
You're right. So, yeah, anyways, great win there. And now Egypt sits atop the group. So that should be fun.
And Canada.
What about Egypt-Canada if they faced each other, Sharif?
Oh, Katina, man, I wouldn't go to that game. I'd hide under a rock.
Would you have allegiance there, or would it just be?
That's a tough one there, man. I owe a lot to this country, right? But your roots are back there, so it's a tough one.
Yeah, no, it's a tough one. That's a tough one there. And the U.S. Is the U.S. there 1-0-1, right? They tied.
Yeah,
no,
I think
did they win both?
They're 2-0, guys.
They're 2-0. Yeah. Okay. I wasn't sure about their first game, so that's U.S. cruising right now as well. So, and then Canada, of course, beat up on little Qatar. But what are you going to do there?
Tough injury loss, but still.
Yeah, and then Qatar was playing 10 men for a while. Okay. I have no idea what that is. So what's up to Sharif right there? We'll go back to that. It says Masr. I don't know what the
Masr means Egypt in Arabic.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's why I said definitely for Sharif right there. So a lot of people getting excited. And that's the best thing. And we saw some of the fans. You mentioned that Norway, Joe. Does Egypt have any traditions with their fans? Or I saw the Norwegians always doing the rowing there.
No, actually we don't, dude. No, I'm saying like we don't have a big thing like that, like the Icelandics with the drums and clapping. No, not like that.
That's part of the best part.
That's what makes the World Cup so amazing is you get just not just rabid fans, traditions, the chants. Like everyone really gets into it, and
that's the best part.
I just think it's cool because Canada's never really been a part of, like for most of my life, like Canada in the World Cup.
No,
like,
we literally just got our first win.
We just got our first win, and realistically, it's.
Did I hear that was Egypt's first win in a World Cup?
That was their first win as well.
Yeah, see?
Hey, good for them.
Yeah, so lots of stuff happening.
But you have to, to get it out of the way, Cabo Verde is right now is the best story in the whole tournament, in my opinion. Like the way that these guys, like you said, they don't have a single club player on their team like it plays in the higher leagues, and they're still going toe to toe against Spain, against Uruguay as well. We got Volkanchik.
The earnings are not today.
My guys, what is your take on MU's earnings on Monday? Earnings for Micron are on Wednesday. I mean, it has to shock the market big time to go up.
No.
Well, first of all, it's shocked the market the last 2 times and not gone up. So it just, like you have to, sometimes it matters more what's been going on to the stock going into the earnings than the earnings themselves. If Micron was at $950, then I don't think they would have, like it would just, if they do as expected, they'd probably go up because it was on a bit of a pullback. Instead, you're likely going into Wednesday's print in huge momentum, up another, what is it from this recent low, like $300, so call that, I don't know, like 35% from the recent low. And that's today, let alone 2 days from now. So like I tend to think like the pattern has been like if it goes into the print at the highs, it's pulled back. And that's exactly what it looks like it's going to be. But it isn't until after the bell on Wednesday. So we got a couple of days of trading for it to make a couple more all-time highs before we even get there, right? It does one today, it does one tomorrow, and the next thing you know, you're at 1250 going into the print.
Yeah, I mean, they could announce a stock split. They could do lots of things. I don't think they need crazy earnings to go up. They just need to confirm that, you know, the demand is still there. And I think once they do that and once they guide forward, then people are going to have to change. The thing about once you guide is then people have to start changing their price targets because now you've given the information that the analysts are looking for, right? So if analysts are expecting, let's just say, to sell 100, you know, DRAM chips, let's just say, all right, and then they guide 120. Well, then that's 20% more on, you know, that sort of PE explanation there, where people are now going to have to say, okay, my numbers are off by 20% because the street expected them 100 units, they guided 120 units. So as long as they can keep on talking about the demand. Last report was down 4%. The report before that was up 8%. The report before that was down 3%. So it's basically a mixed bag. You have no idea what to expect on their earnings. But I mean, I would just say, hey, go for it. If you like the long, I mean, this is why I talked about it last week. And, you know, the long was down here, right? And, you know, you don't really want to try to play options too close to their report. And if it's going to come out on Wednesday, that's too close now. You're probably paying through the nose rate here with the premium. So I would say if you're long the stock, I would always take a little bit off. I mean, it's that whole Marvell thing, right? Like we all knew that they were getting added into the S&P 500 and, you know, there was going to be a lot of love and a lot of talk about them on Thursday. And then this is what wound up happening. You know, now do I think they bounce back? Yes, I have it on the sticky note at a 310. Did I say when this happened on Friday that this is probably a good opportunity to buy them? Let's see if it winds up holding true. But I think Micron, as long as the story remains intact, and it's not like other names are screaming at you that the story's falling on its face. I mean, here's more memory, right? Western Digital, up huge, up 5%, 7 straight up days. SNDK, at all-time highs, $2,300, blowing absolutely everyone's face off right now. That's up huge again, up 7 straight days. So, you know, the story continues on this, and then you also have the DRAM ETF that people need to start buying. You know, you need to start filling up this. If Micron reports, they need to put more Micron in, and there it goes to the upside. Now, I don't know you know, how this is actually constituted, but there goes DRAM upside as well, big time movement. So I would say everybody's, and then look at ARM. I mean, ARM is also screaming out that there's not a demand issue as well, as that gets back to all-time highs. So I think Micron, as long as they say what they have to say, I think they'll be okay. And the analysts might be shy on their expectations for Micron. I think it could go higher. So I don't know, Hamster. I don't know why I look so young today, my guy. I feel tired as hell. But it's been a very, very busy weekend, and we're always happy to do that. I'm not even here that many days this week, so we're pretty happy with it.
It's going to be a lot of Joe.
It's going to be a hell of a lot of Joe coming out, and that's good for everybody.
Yeah, next week too.
Yeah, next week you're not here, and Joe's going to be filling in
London.
So, yeah, you're going to London there. So say what's up to Adam DeLuz. I met him last time I was in London, and hopefully you'll be able to, maybe if you have some free time, see if he's around. Okay, guys, that's what that is, man. It's 8:55. We want to thank Michael Noss for coming through. He showed some crazy charts, some spaghetti charts that I have no idea what was going on there. He talked about Fight the Fed and whatnot. That was a lot of fun stuff. We'll be here to trade. Our Watchlist is now available. Hey, we talked about this last week. We do have, I don't know if we have that promo if you want to run that thing. We do have the Sharif's Morning Note, and if you become a member for just $5 a month, you get Sharif's Morning Note, which has so much information on it. I think there's 14 pages again here today. Trade targets, ideas, key levels, support levels. There we go. I'll just keep on talking about it. But there it is right there. So all this stuff, that's what I was talking about. The story, the technicals, the trade plan. It's all there. And we want to thank Casey, I believe it was this morning, for 10 memberships that got dropped again. $5 a month. Grab this note. You also can get our free Watchlist. The Watchlist is actually really hot fire as well, prepared by Adara and the group every single morning. That gives a rough outline of what we're going to talk about in the first half hour pre-market. So coming up right now, between 9 and 9:30, we'll go over many of those names. But the nuts and bolts of a lot of the stories are, in that morning note. So for $5, what is that? $5, 20, 40 cents a day. I don't know, something like that, depending on how many days you're going to open it. But that's pretty cheap, right?
It's very cheap.
If you go with 20 trading days.
Yeah, it's a quarter.
Yeah, it's absolutely nothing to look into there. So definitely go grab that. I think we have over 2,000 members or something like that.
Boom. It's one of these. This is a Canadian quarter. So
it's just a little bit more than that.
Although, you know what, you're allowed to, this is one of the change, the quarter in Canada and the US, you can use them interchangeably. So that's a bit of a cheat code.
Oh, you can?
Well, they accept Canadian.
You know what? I never use cash anymore.
Nobody uses cash anymore.
Idea. Although we did.
Well, my barber and apparently girl guy cooking.
You know who uses cash? Sushi takeout. We went to a place right by Humber College there, in between one of her games, and she likes to eat the sushi, whatever. So we all got a couple rolls, and I saw the sign said 10% discount for cash. I said, hold my beer, my guy. Nice. Ran to the car. Thankfully, I had a couple 20s in there. Threw it to the guy. Saved $6 at the end.
You don't see that very often.
No, it was $60 for us for lunch, and it made it down to $50 or $54. So
exactly.
It was nice, man. I'll save if I can save $6. Honestly, I'll
every single time. Hell yeah.
No, but it's like I open up the app. You see me with those McDonald's iced coffees. They're $1. Yeah. Honestly, if I don't use the app, it's $1.50. If I do use it, it's $1. So I don't know. I don't mind saving them. Part of it is a game for me. Try to find the best deals, because I always feel like if Neil's paying $1 and I'm paying $1.50, well, then he wins. And I feel like if those opportunities are there, you might as well take them.
You have to.
I don't know. I don't. It's like you're car shopping. I don't know. You try to find the right car at the right price.
Oh, but that's at a different level.
That's at a completely different
level. That's an actual game.
I talked about that. That's what I want to do.
That's an actual.
I want to eat. It's
fun to do, but
when I retire in 3 years,
the phone one's is fun too. But you have to. I find with your phone company, whatever, your phone bill. I always feel like I have to be a little bit not as nice as I like to be.
On your phone.
It is what it is. It gets the job done, but I always feel like I have to be a little bit of a punk.
See, I haven't done that in a while. I'm at $35 a month, all included, unlimited to Canada, US. Everything. So for me, thankfully I haven't had to do that in a while, because I'm pretty happy with that plan. I don't know. People always say Canadian cell phone plans aren't that great, but I don't. You guys tell me, $35. I mean, I don't know what you guys are. This is unlimited calling to the United States, Canada, unlimited LT or 5G, I guess, is the highest data for $35 a month with TELUS. So that's a tier 1 company. you know, with huge coverage here in Canada. So it's not like it's with like a Freedom Mobile or something like that. I think cell phone plans in the United States are obviously really competitive, but 35 Canadian a month is like $26 US a month for unlimited. So I don't know, you guys tell me. I think that probably, there we go. 35 USD is not bad a month. Yeah, we're 35 Canadian a month. I got 3 lines on that deal too.
US.
All right, let's go back over to the desk and talk to them about Sharif's morning note. First of all, we just
huge.
shout out to the member rate here. We just got a new member rate there. So what's up to Roberto Gonzalez? Let us know in the chat about that morning note, and everybody that's getting it, what you guys think you guys are up to there. But all right, let's go back over to the desk and see what they're talking about. There goes Bitcoin 365.
Super strong.
748 3/4, guys, is where we closed out on the SPY. A lot of topping tail candles on this 4-hour chart from last week, so I'm feeling a little top heavy, especially since we're below that 750 area that we were both using as support and resistance the last few weeks. So that first R1 area resistance level 1 Nadera, we're going to say 750. If we start selling off, we're looking at 745 as support level 1.
We're going to get right into that morning rundown that we do every day the markets are open at 9 a.m. Eastern. And the basis for this rundown always comes from our free Trader TV Live watch list. This watch list doesn't just have stories. It has earnings on watch. It has things that are going to happen this week, things that happened over the weekend, things that could be happening with companies, earnings, events, economic data, etc. So check it out again for FREE free. Now, near the top of this watch list, potentially at the top of this watch list today, was INTC Intel. This name gapping up in a big way. A couple different notes, but also announcing a pretty big hire coming from SK Hynix, former CEO joining Intel's foundry team.
Absolutely. We already spoke about the Mizuho price target increase today, kept the rating at neutral. But yes, we have a new appointment. Hee Lee. He's the former CEO of South Korean memory chip maker SK Hynix. He's going to be the executive VP of Intel Foundry. Now, a little bit of a side note here. SK Hynix has just overtaken Samsung as South Korea's largest company. So overtaking it by market cap there overnight, something to look out to. But although Lee has, a memory chip background, his appointment is not viewed as Intel kind of returning to the memory business. Rather, he's going to lead the advanced packaging. We keep talking about this packaging segment for Intel. It could not be more important, especially with RAM boosting in price. His background could be valuable, as Intel has reportedly been in talks with SK Hynix about integrating high bandwidth memory and logic chips. So we'll have to see how this deal works out, Adair, but it's already looking good here in the morning.
You guys looking at INTC today?
100%. But just before we get to there, I see number 2 on the list is Micron. Micron Anthropic with a link up, and you're going to see that's probably what caused the futures. If you're looking at a bit of a bump, just hit 1,200. And 1201.50, new all-time high pre-market, but is what it is for Micron. So another bump. It's just so incredibly strong. And going into earnings, they're doing so in a strong way. Intel, regardless of whether you think this foundry hire is a big deal or you like the upgrade, I don't necessarily think it matters. This is just pure continuation. Yet another name dipped, 50-period hold. Breakout the top. The breakout is literally today because it got there and didn't extend on Thursday, almost at Friday again. And I like to pull back into the prior high, 134, 135, right in here. It looked like we were trending back down into it, but it's only 9 o'clock. There's still plenty of time. And when Intel does dips at the open, if it goes for the dip and rip, as long as it gets somewhere into this mid, between the pre-market low and the prior highs, I want to look for that curl. As Intel, you can say it's been incredibly impressive and blah, 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 200 and whatever % on the year or 300% on it's just, the numbers are nuts. And the valuation at this point, they're still trying to play catch up, but you can say this down the line. Fine. At some point, you look at this, or you look at Marvell, or you look at Micron, or you look at ARM, or you look at Caterpillar, or you look at, and just insert name down the line, and they're all incredibly impressive. And Sharif just said all-time high Caterpillar. But the story really for them, and you can throw AMD in here as well, has been the CPU. And that was the big surprise. Like, the foundry business was supposed to be the future, and that's great. That's the headlines now, but it's really the CPU business which took off for them and gives them this fundamental push so they could join the AI party. And now there's just a pure continuation, and the US government sits at, what are they probably now, 7x? Something like that. 7x, almost. Or it's got to be close to 7x from their initial investment. Because I think it was like $20 or 19, whatever it was.
I mean, I'm in at 20, so. I mean, there it goes to the upside. These dumplings are pretty good. Look, 135, same level I wrote down, but I don't have it on the sticky note. I just think I don't think we do dip down into that level. So 136.50 maybe. There you're now your new 200 period moving average. Look, I really love the space. Talked about, I have Marvell written down. I think Marvell's a little bit better of a trade just because I think there's more chance that this dips down into 310. But at the end of the day, the name just keeps on working, all these names, right? I mean, I don't know. We're wondering about what's going on with Nvidia. Nvidia is one of those ones that finally starting to break out. I mean, I think I could have wrote this down maybe as a breakout. Oopsies. We don't need to be that close into it. Maybe as a breakout right there. That's kind of what's trying to happen right here at 311.50, or sorry, 211.50. That's sort of that high. I think we can break that. Then you have VWAP underneath. You have everything starting to go. I was a little uncertain of which way this market wanted to go today, but I think now we're seeing a nice little bump up. Good levels there. We're hearing SMCI now starting to break higher as well through some of these levels. So the names keep working today, and I don't think there's any reason to not play these longs. I talked about SMCI, I think it was last week, that although we don't necessarily like the name because of all the back and forth there, we don't trust some of the inside deals that they've had and what their management has been doing. Worried about them getting, kicked out again of the NASDAQ 100 and different things like that. But it seems like they still want to work out. And Dell's been a much better trade, but I still like SMCI. Well hated, but also well loved from a day trading side of things as it continues to have huge moves on the regular. So again, like this is what happened there on Thursday. Like you had this dip down about 50 or 60 cents and then a rip up. So I think if we can get something similar to that back into $32, then SMCI could be a trade today as well. So there's just so much news coming through. And now we have Micron coming out in a minute. So yeah. Software stocks are having a little bit of a problem, but the AI names don't seem to be having one at all. Neither do some of the bank names. Are we back to green yet? Yeah, so the ES is green. Market's pulling back just a bit, but I still like the story here today, and I think this is the right space, the right everything. Pick a stock that you like, whether or not it be Intel, Micron, Nvidia. We're going to talk about Micron in a second, SMCI. I think they all work today, especially with the NASDAQ trying to go higher. SpaceX is a little bit on the back burner. We don't even have it. We have it right at the very end. So we'll talk about that.
Short.
We'll talk about that in a minute there. But I like Marvell today. I like all these names. Let's see what winds up happening as this market comes closer to 930.
Earlier today that Micron and its peers in the memory space, so SanDisk, WDC, and STX, were the best performers pre-market for the S&P 500. Micron getting some price target increases ahead of its earnings after the bill on Wednesday, in addition to this newly announced Anthropic deal, which includes Micron investing in Anthropic. Let's talk about the MU today.
Absolutely, Adara. A $510 price target rocketing up to $1,300 thanks to the good people there at Bernstein. Let's talk about some of the reasons why. So, look, a lot of NVIDIA's chips have Micron's products inside of them. So, obviously, NVIDIA's going to buy these products from Micron. So, what the analysts here are saying is if NVIDIA wants to maintain these prices, they're going to have to increase their price on the hyperscalers by 4 times. So, their prices, if they want to maintain 75% gross margins. So if NVIDIA wants to maintain its margins, it's going to have to increase its price on the hyperscalers here by up to 4 times. And as a result of that, Bernstein was able to make an educated guess as to how much the HBM industry is going to take in terms of a spending increase from the AI build-out. And they're saying it's going to increase infrastructure budgets by up to 30% just because of the RAM price increase. So something to think about there. Also, we always credit Micron for really doing well with their gross margins on HBM. But quietly, DRAM has also been boosting in price as well. In fact, they're saying since mid-25, it surged 4.5 times what it was selling at, about a year last year. And last but not least, quantitative models are mapping the end of this exact boom cycle here for RAM. They're saying they're going to have 70% give or take gross margins into late 27, and then it's all going to deflate. They're saying into 2028, they expect gross margins to be about 50% by then, Adara.
Yeah, here's a look at how Micron's performed so far in the first half of the year. As you can see, year-over-year growth across all of its memory segments to the tune of roughly 100% each. So let's see if Q3, which we get on Wednesday, sees a continuation of that pattern. People asking about SMCI a couple minutes ago, specifically 9:05 a.m. SMCI announcing that they've delivered Nvidia Vera Rubin NVL4 end-to-end DC BBS blueprint, with, I guess, good performance for converged HPC and AI infrastructure. So very tech jargon heavy SMCI Nvidia announcement. Back to you.
Yeah, tech jargon heavy announcement. And like you said, you could pick your poison here. We've talked a little Micron, WDC with a weird downgrade. I shouldn't say weird, it is what it is. Upgrade, downgrade. We just talked about Intel. But you can also just look at DRAM in general and get, sort of get the group, get a little exposure to SK Hynix, which eventually we'll list here. That's the idea anyways, and Samsung, and just go right down the line. So DRAM trend is your friend till the end when it bends. Even when this has a pullback day, and if we're looking, just zoom back out. Even when we have like dip days, pull back, find support, and then it's like the next day support, and then trend back up. Pull back, find some support, this time in a little bit of the gap. The next day, hold a higher low, and then a breakout day. So even it's proving here in this entire space, when you have a dip day, you basically get, lately, it's like carte blanche to just go long the day after. So right now it's trend up, so I think you're really picking your poison here. If you're playing the trend, whether you like a Marvell, whether you like an Intel, whether you like Micron or DRAM, it's above VWAP and holding. So I think this continues to make sense. And even if it loses and fills the gap, the pattern is telling you that, on Tuesday you want to go in there if it somehow reverses red, which I don't think it will. You're looking for a long in that regard anyway. So yeah, the trend is your friend until the end. And when Micron reports, just keep in mind it's had cooling off periods after earnings, right? Like what it does after day one doesn't really matter. It had like a 25% pullback, I think, overall. And then after that, it made all-time highs in just like a week or two. So, when Wednesday does hit, you got to be willing to take advantage of, any dips that they do give you. Because of Micron. And we get Jin in here with the super chat, thoughts on rotating into software, Microsoft and ServiceNow. If you I don't know. If you like something for value and you think you're getting value in it, there's nothing wrong with like nibbling in. If you want to fight the trend is kind of the right word. But if you believe in, let's say, a softie or like the IGV, just to be in something a little bit safer, and you think that there is a value in this, guessing where the bottom is going to be is crazy. I can tell you that when memory pulls back, that'll be when software gets rotated into. So both of those are in opposing trends right now. But you can guess if you want, or you can just DCA. Like if I like something and I want to buy into it, like IBM's an example this year, I don't get too crazy about it. I just buy a little bit each quarter until I have my position, because I don't know where the turn's going to be. So I can't tell you when software turns. Now, I can tell you if you like the value, maybe you nibble some in now, but it's in a distinct downward trend. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that.
Yeah, I think it's time to rotate out of anything yet. I mean, I would say that, if you're talking about rotating out, I think you can just do what we were just saying there, take a little bit off of some of the rotation stocks. Like if you thought SMCI, had too much of a move, even on a day like today. If you think that Intel up at 137 is coming back in, is a little bit of a bubble. If you think Micron or SNDK and some of those other names, fine. For me, I would just choose Microsoft. I just think there's just a lot of levers for them. I think that they're going to have a bigger cloud game than we're giving them credit for right now. Obviously, as we worry about per seat pricing, I think that's what's happening to ServiceNow. They have a 98% renewal rate, so ServiceNow is actually still really healthy and still doing fine. But the worry is that people could do more with less people. And if you have 100 people right now subject to licenses, well, maybe that goes down to 15 or so, and then that means you're going to get a cut in demand for like a CRM, which is another name, Salesforce, as that keeps on coming down. So as we worry about seat licenses and just the fact that we don't need to have everybody in our organization set up with, some of the properties. Like not everybody needs to have the latest and greatest Windows or whatever the, OS there for Microsoft, and how they're, applying Windows and upgrading all these computers, so on and so forth. People are a little bit worried that, hey, maybe Microsoft, even my kid has switched off of Windows and into other platforms as well, as we worry about code. I mean, that's part of the problem that hit IBM until they started talking about quantum. Well, IBM's back, actually, IBM's been getting crushed too lately, actually pretty bad. IBM, wow, all the way down into 240. I thought we were doing pretty good buying this down here at 230. And yeah, that's had a huge move back in as well. So I actually prefer IBM over those other names. I didn't even realize they were doing this poorly. That's almost straight down $100 right there. Ever since they got that money from the US government, it's just gotten hammered all the way back in now. So yeah, that's a name there that I don't think about nibbling myself here. Last time we bought it was down here. If we get back into 230 or something for international business machines, I think I like that as well, because you're going to get the CPU game in that, and you're also going to get some quantum plays. So I do like IBM for a look in that space. So thanks for the $2. Back over about Apple, then Google, then what about SpaceX?
We will indeed talk about SpaceX, saving probably the most exciting here for last, but AAPL recovering a little bit here. As you can see, though, they shot lower around 7:15 a.m. after getting a downgrade.
Yeah, Dara, KGI Securities downgrading them from outperform to neutral, keeping that same price target at $315. Sadly, I was unable to find the reasons for the downgrade, despite doing a bit of a search here. KGI Securities, not really one of the main analyst agencies that we know.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. I looked into this as well. No reasoning that we could find here. So mystery as to why AAPL got downgraded today, but worth noting that $315 price target still well above where we're currently trading. How do you guys feel about AAPL and maybe some of these other names in that Mag 7 space today?
I mean, I'm not excited about it, but the point of Apple isn't to be excited about it. Apple, I think Apple plays both ways. Like Apple's going to win being the platform, but they're also not going parabolic. There's nothing has happened which is completely out of bounds. We're like, oh, it's gotten overvalued. So it hasn't been too badly beaten up like a Meta. It's got like this nice happy medium that's got going on. And for now, the 50-period SMA on the daily is the place to go. And if the downgrade brings this lower, well, yeah, if this one ends up down, testing that 294 or the 290 support levels today on the market update, I think I'll like that. Like that 50 period is holding, and until it stops holding, then I think the local dip buys on any kind of gentle down day in the market, I think Apple's going to be one that'll find some support levels that I'm going to like. But it's not at the top of the radar. Not a big catalyst in here at all. So if we do end up down testing that support at 94, that's one thing.
Still looking at that break of 211.50 for Nvidia. Okay, so Apple, yeah, I mean, I don't know, I'm down 0.64. I mean, it's not great because it's against the market. So, for me, I was a little bit confused about which way to go today. But now that we've bounced off the 50 period twice here, I feel like we are going higher. And Apple doesn't look like it wants to participate in that. For as far as a day trade is concerned, I'm not so sure I want to look at Apple today until it actually gives some kind of an idea of its direction, because right now it's looking low. I mean, we just bounced off the 200 period, and that would normally be a spot where I would say, okay, if you can take it, hold above, hit it a couple times, then we can start to move higher. But instead, it's the other way around. We took it, or we didn't even really take it. We got up to it, bounced around a little bit, now back into VWAP. I still think it's a short. A little bit insane, I think, to short it right off the jump there, because the market looks like it wants to go. So I wouldn't short this thing, but at the same time, I don't think it's the best long. I mean, if we're going to talk about those first couple names here, I like those longs better. I like SpaceX long better. I do have Google written down as my #1 trade short. So why don't we go back over to the desk and find out more about Google, and then we'll talk about some levels that we're looking short.
Google story today involves a jumper, pretty prolific Google researcher who's now leaving the company to go to another AI firm. The second such turnover in about a week now, Sharif.
Yeah, theoretical chemist.
Now, Sharif.
Yeah, theoretical chemist and computer scientist John Jumper. He won the 2024 Nobel Prize in Chemistry for co-creating AlphaFord, which is an AI system that predicts the 3D structure of proteins. He's leaving DeepMind. He's joining Anthropic, Dario and company. He announced the move on X on Friday, calling the decision, after nearly 9 years, I have decided to leave Google DeepMind to join Anthropic after taking some time to recharge, he wrote. A bit of news, and then he just kind of reiterated the same thing. So he thanked people there, and we'll see how he does at his new venture. But we also had this headline come in earlier, Adara, Nokia, Google expand partnership to embed AI agents. So they're expanding that partnership. It's going to integrate Google's Gemini models into Nokia's network software suite. Here's what they said. By developing 6 specialized AI agents built with Gemini, Google's most capable family of multimodal models, Nokia will advance its capacity to help telecom providers lower operational costs. And they go on to say other things. So good look here for Google, despite the fact that it's down 2 and change on the morning.
You keep an eye on Nokia, of course, with that Google news as well. How do you guys feel about GeoOGL today?
Go ahead.
You know what? You're going to talk Google. I mean, I would look at Nokia today. I'm not really looking at Google, so I'll let you talk Google.
Yeah, I have Google. I have Google up written down here. That's the wrong one I was going to show you. I got to find I got to go find the sticky note there. But it's on the note. Anyways, I have it written down as a short. So okay, that's nice. We'll look at USO in a couple minutes. We don't even have oil written down on here. Not a big thing. But yeah, no, I just, down 2%. And I mean, this fits what I was thinking. And again, I wrote it down when the market wasn't sort of up here, but this was already red and it's getting redder. I mean, so we had thought about this name at 361. And at that time, of course, I wrote down here 364 to 365. So when we're writing the sticky note, in between 7:30, 8 o'clock, the 200 period is in and around these levels. Now we're down to 363. So I'm thinking that's going to be a short in between VWAP and right into there. It's had a hard time. And what I have written down on here was also the fact that we are away from its 200 period moving average, that we're having a hard time thinking about, it's 50 period. We're having a hard time getting above that. And I just don't like the fact that we turned away from it. Now you're starting to come back in. I know my guy over there, Joe, bought some at 350. I really like that. I think I'm going to be sitting there. I'd like to buy some down at that level as well, especially if we get even lower. I think it's a great buy. I really like some Google. And you know what? I wouldn't mind if my whole portfolio was all Google, to be honest with you. So I don't, I'm way more diversified than that. I probably own 50 or 60 names. But at the end of the day, I think Google is the winner, and I really enjoy holding on to this stock, and I think it's a name that you're not going to regret, holding for a long term. But just for today, and maybe for a minute, it's had a problem breaking this 50 period, and now you're underneath with the market trying to go. Google's not even trying. You don't like them losing people to competitors. I don't know, like Adara said, I don't know who this John Jumper guy is, but like I said, the joke was he's jumping from Google over to Anthropic. But at the end of the day, Google is the second largest investor in Anthropic. So, if Anthropic is a success, Google will benefit from that. I'm not sure I think it's 8% or something they own, and Amazon also with a huge Anthropic stake. So when that name comes to market, they're going to get the benefits of all that. Obviously, you like to keep your talent in-house, but at the same time, Google continues to work, and I like the name. Just it's having a problem breaking through the 50 period. And at some point, these Mag 7 names will be hot again. It's just a matter of right now, it's those first couple names on the board that everyone's looking at memory now. And it's just, Google's not in that space. They're in their TPUs. I mean, their TPU game's strong, so, and their cloud game, the strongest. And then Waymo's working, YouTube is working. There's a lot working for Google, but today I'm going to look short.
Yeah, the only thing, the Nokia actually looks pretty solid here. I know it's a Nokia Google story, not Google specifically, but we talk about stocks at the 50 period. This is bouncing the 50 period as we speak. SMA on the daily, 13.25 was that low. I don't know if it wants to retest that, but it has a good trend break if it can bust 14 or just buy support that you can see off that 50 period, which makes sense. Nick Dubs. Well, I didn't answer this, but we'll say it. What would be a name that you think in 20 years? 20 years would be very big. Small cap, Archer, MP, VKTX, and Path. Well, I'm not the biggest Path person. I own MP, so the easy answer would be MP. Viking, I think, is either bought out or does not exist in 20 years, so that gets pretty linear, and that'll probably happen in the next couple of years. But Archer is pretty interesting. I own MP, so the easy answer would be for me to simply say MP Materials. I think it would be a solid long term. But then Archer probably has the most boomer bust out of all of them. like Archer Aviation probably gives you the best chance to like go like 100x or nothing. And Path is one that I don't really know much about. Now we know something about SpaceX because once again, stop me if you're before, SpaceX is going to lead the market probably in notional volume, which it has done every single day since its inception.
There's so much to say about SpaceX today. We have this potential offering coming out, which we've had a couple different credit firms weighing in on, but also KeyBank weighing in on this sector weight. SPCX, where do you want to start with this name today, Sharif?
Yeah, let's talk about the fact that they want to raise $20 billion. That was kind of quietly reported on the 18th by Reuters. The idea here is they're going to issue a corporate bond sale, which is designed to immediately pay down the multi-billion-dollar bridge loans they used to fund the recent AI capex. And we've been talking a lot about how XAI, still bleeding money. You like where this is going, though, from Elon really renting excess compute that he doesn't have need for right now with XAI. But let's talk about the fact that the S&P put their foot down here with SpaceX, because they lost SpaceX, that is, $4.2 billion net loss in Q1 of 26. Well, what does that mean? That means they're legally barred from entering the S&P until at least June of 2027. So you're not going to have the passive buying of index funds that track the S&P until at least that time. Now, mind you, you've got the NASDAQ 100 and the MSCI. Those will be doing some passive buying. But the big kahuna here, the S&P, not so. And let's also talk about this kind of staggered or staged, should we call it, a lockup period. So we know, unlike the standard 180-day IPO lockup periods, SpaceX engineered this super hyper-aggressive tiered schedule where the first massive tranche of insider and employee shares unlocks just days after the June quarter earnings report. We're kind of expecting that sometime in August. That kind of creates a bit of a, what you want to call an invisible wall of imminent sell-side pressure, Adara. So that's still a few months away. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah, I think the other thing, Sharif, that I think is interesting to talk about is you have also Jefferies weighing in today on Tesla and how this is impacted by a potential merger with SpaceX. A, do you think this merger happens? And B, where do you think it potentially leaves shareholders of either company?
That's a great question, Adara. And, looking at this from a practical side, right? Like, what benefits would Tesla get, would SpaceX get if the merger was to go ahead? And a lot of people are saying that it's going to be financial, that you're going to be able to sort of leverage a lot of Tesla's balance sheet on the SpaceX side. I don't see a lot of overlap, practically speaking, from a business sense immediately, but one must wonder, Adara, what he's able to do in the future.
One must. Are you guys watching? I'm sure you're watching SpaceX here. How do you feel about these Elon Musk plays today with a lot of catalysts on watch?
Well, SpaceX, actually not really looking too much at Tesla today, to be honest with you. I think it's a non-zero that a merger eventually happens, but you can't sit there expecting it. Like, oh, this is the end game. I don't need to own SpaceX because I own Tesla shares. I'm not in that camp. So I still have a stink bid even lower here on SpaceX, and I kind of nibbled in after the inception. But for me, I'm not going to get away from what has been working, which for the last few days has been looking for the short. We're a bit away from the resistance levels here. Like, you're talking into the low 180s and 190s. So it would require a pop or just maybe, oh God, these wicks here, a few of them. If we don't get those pops into the low 80s or like 190 for a fade, it might just be a VWAP type of trade. And shout out to Flip, another TikTok viewer, interested in QUBT, quantum computing. Yeah, the quantum names. Maybe not this one, because I feel like it's the other three that get the most press, but they had been making a bit of a jaunt. This hasn't really broken out the same way that we saw some of the others look a little, just a teensy wit better on breaks. I like the 50 hold, but this needs $12 in the 200 period to really get going. If you look at something like it's not to like put them all into the same bucket or make the comparisons. It's just a bit of a better uptrend in Rigetti as it pulls back, and I like D-Wave because I own D-Wave, but ultimately they're all putting this slight upward trend where there's just no next catalyst, I suppose.
All right, Nvidia's trying to come back in a little bit. Now it's trying to go back up. I mean, the market's coming back in right there. I don't know if there's Roblox news or not. We can have a quick little look. There's only 2 minutes right now. It must be if it's down 7%. Yeah, so we'll wait for Roblox. But yeah, I mean,
I put it in the chat. I already, like our YouTube chat didn't see anything, and I looked.
Okay. Yeah, so Roblox is back into 48 bucks. I mean, I think it's back into a key level here. We'll wait to see if it winds up holding. Yeah, always news about Roblox. So I think that if we're not able to find it, we'll watch it. But again, I like the stock. I think dip buy makes a lot of sense. But there's all this banning of gaming and social media. And, you know, it's just like, what's next? You know, and if they start banning certain games, like, I don't know, are they going to ban Grand Theft Auto? I mean, this is up to 245 again on Take-Two. You know, I mean, that's going to be a pretty brutal game, and there's going to be a lot of kids that are playing this one. So, you know, I still like Roblox, and I like the story, so I don't know. But anyways, all right, so Nvidia coming through. I just put a bid at 210. If we can get something down there for the 200 period moving average, maybe we can do that. We're looking for Google short. I don't know if that's going to happen. I'm looking for Marvell long, and you know, we opened the show saying Marvell long around that 210 could be something. So a little dip down in this market, 310, a little dip down in this market right now could get us that. So we're sitting there. And then honestly, IBIT, like I'm still bidding IBIT. I'm bidding 36.50 right now. I don't know, it's a little bit early. Maybe 36.30 is where I'm bidding. I think, where did I put my bid? Yeah, 36.60, sorry. So we're bidding right into there to see if we can get some IBIT. That might hit right away. This opening bell brought to you by VinFast. So I want to thank them for their continued support. Go check them out. Ticker VFS, that's VinFast. All right, so we might get some IBIT. That might come in soon through. SpaceX is just doing what they're doing right now, 176. I know that's a name there's a lot of people looking at. And there goes Google right to the downside. So bye-bye for Google. We wanted the short. Looks like so did others. That's hitting 367 right now. With this market pulling back in, it's not. But we may be getting long in some other names. We just got our Marvell long as well. So I can't switch right now. Oh, there it is. Okay, so now we're back in. We're long Marvell at 311. Yeah. It is already $1 in the money, but here we go. It's Marvell. We're doing quite well on this one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm only sitting.
Well, here it comes back in again.
Only sitting an order in IBIT, but that's not going anywhere but to the upside. Intel just made another all-time high, so stop me if you heard this before. Just broke 140 and continues to go. Might have to look at a VWAP if we're not going to get a 135 here on Intel. Is it absolutely flying? SpaceX heading lower. At least it looks like it's heading lower on this chart. Back down through 170, or not breaking 175, but down to 175 even. Like to pop into the 80s to try to fade this one. Yeah, we get some dark pool wicks on SpaceX, guys. They're all not real. You saw the same thing on Friday, so it's just a little bit more of the same.
Yeah, so we've been getting, I mean, we have a couple outs. Like I said, it's pretty choppy here to start the day. It's just back and forth. Marvell, we were able to get some out of 312. Then we got a 310 fill. Then we got some 311s. And now you're down into 308. So we're not, you know, we've learned our lesson. Okay, here it comes in. We've learned our lesson with trading a lot of shares on these names, especially right when this starts to happen early like this. So here comes Marvell right back into 305, 306 right now. Those are some of the levels that were the pre-market lows. We did have some bunching up down here at those levels. So potentially, you know, we could try another. Because we don't have too many shares, we could try a bid right around here, but it's definitely not working out so far on MRVL as it's just getting swiped lower and lower here. Watch out for a 303 potential break here on Oops, my chart has to move over. On okay.
Don't try to.
No, that's what I was going to say. Something's going on with the charts because we just got long down there at 303.30s or so, and my chart's not filling it up. But you can clearly see that's where it is right now. So we're long at 308 here on Marvell, looking to maybe get a little bit out here on this bump up through, there it is, through 305. But yeah, something's going on with the charts. I apologize for that. Hopefully this will start to fill out. Do I still have that outlier thing selected? Because that does not seem to be working. That's probably what it is. I'm going to uncheck that right now, and then we'll see. There it is. So there was something
did it help?
about that. Yes, it did.
Yeah, it's that new feature.
Yeah,
thank you, Adam James Abroad. OMG NXT. Oh, this is the 500,000 float stock. Yeah, 13 it didn't halt. Okay, anyway, so it goes 11 to 13.5, doesn't halt. This is 500 or 600,000 share float. Absolutely insane to the upside for NXTS. Keep an eye on it. I suspect this one is a very high probability of halting. IBIT is, you know what? I'm just gonna move. I'm not gonna sit there in the bid. The idea to sit there in the bid at 9:30 is to try to get picked up, but the market's coming back in, and this is not going anywhere whatsoever. I did have Robinhood on the list here. Is it getting to 110?
Oops.
Yes.
Here comes Marvell.
Yeah, this could get into the 110 level. I had this one for a pop and fade if it does a topping tail at the 110, and it might be the first thing that comes in. SpaceX is only going down, no jump up.
Google's getting crushed, Marvell's getting crushed.
The market's about to go red.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah,
threatening to go. The Nasdaq. I know we didn't really talk too much about the Nasdaq, but it's a topping tail candle. The topping tail gotta wait for the dips. There's nothing really short setting up for me just yet. And I know there were some people that were asking about Getty. Have to double check the news, but it is very much in play. It's done like 50 million shares this morning, but it was giving it up all.
Tie up with ChatGPT or OpenAI. Sorry, financial terms not disclosed. It's on the watch list.
That's pretty good, Getty.
Okay, so Getty making some moves. We are just trying to stop some of the bleeding here on Marvell. Our average price is now 305, but we've been getting out for hits down here as well, right? And so 304s, a bunch of 304s. We got a 305.50 as well. I'm waiting at 305 now just to get another piece out, and then hopefully we can rip back to the high side right here, but the market's not participating in this move, so that's making me just a little bit nervous about what we're trying to do here with Marvell. I mean, I would love, there it goes, we just got 305, so now we're back trying to make a little bit of cash on this trade. So, nice move now, but it's still not good. We started the first buying there at 310, which is what we wrote down on our list, and then it just collapsed all over itself. But we're back now, so let's just get another offer here at 305.75. So we put that out. We're now $2 to $3 in the money, but we've already taken hits on this one, so we got to let it mature back to the upside there. The one trade that I really did like was Nvidia long. We talked about that break right there. Unfortunately, we got caught up with Marvell, but there goes Nvidia, huge move higher now, up 1.3%, breaking through that. I mean, you guys remember it was one of the names we talked about right there, 211.50. I hope some of you have that, because now you're blast away here on Nvidia to the upside. A lot of love for that name, as a lot of the market's coming back, including Google. Like, we like the short in Google, and that printed huge, but again, taking it right off the jump, a little dangerous. Here it comes right back up. Watch out for 359 to 360 VWAP areas. But now we're cruising, man. Now we're actually putting some damage on the board here on Marvell. So it's finally starting to get a little bit back on this one, as it's now $5 in the money, but we're just covering up some of those hits that we had on MRVL. I wish we would have held it all, but we didn't. So, so far so good here on the comeback for MRVL. Just took some hits early on it, and now we're just kind of suffering from this. So hopefully it gets back up, and we'll see what happens with Marvell. Nice move back higher.
Well, a nice move back up for just about everything. The Nasdaq's now starting to break out. So IBIT, or Bitcoin, I should say, just broke 65,000 and through pre-market highs. So look, it's about 36.9 with 37.4 as a bit of an upward target here. So we're going to start working long in Bitcoin. Never dipped, didn't really give you much off VWAP. We'll buy dips into the volume weighted average price, but we'll just sort of take what we can get, and we will not get upset for now, as the one of the names that we're looking to the short side, SpaceX, it won't pop with the market. So you can't short a pop if there is no pop. My play is going to be first available move up. I'm going to look for a fade on SpaceX. Maybe that's VWAP at 175, but this continues to drop. Friday's lows are right here at 172. Sorry about those dark pool wicks, but they were just all over the place. So it's 172 is the low. So hopefully it bounces off that, and we can engage in some kind of a short. So just IBIT for me. Intel is just gone. Intel 141 as this thing just continues to be a home run. 5.5% up. You could also be looking at some of the, you could look at DRAM, 5.5%, almost 6% to the upside. Micron reports, and they're almost all-time highs, 1,200 right now, actually pulling back a little bit off the 1,200 level. They report, and we forgot to mention this, Cerebras reports tomorrow. So that's another recent IPO, actually the first that'll get an actual report in out of those big-time IPOs this year. So just IBIT long for me, and waiting for a pop on SpaceX to be able to try to fade it. Oil's headed slightly lower, which is going to help support this market too.
Yeah, I mean, we only have Marvell on, but my Nvidia trade was the dip buy, and unfortunately I have that right now at 210, and it just didn't hit. It's just smoking right now. That DFTX was a name there that I was saying was probably going to halt there off the open, but it's been pretty calmed down. It's actually going the other way, and we said there would be some profit takers coming into this name, and that makes sense. Phase 3 trial there with their LSD, and it's coming back into VWAP. So this name back into 37 could be a great long right now for $37 long on DFTX. I mean, it's come right back in, again, like I said, into VWAP, trying to hold out right now, has some good news around it, and it's an easy out. If it breaks 36, 36.50, you can get out and say, you know what, we broke VWAP, and now we're starting to go back to the downside. So we have to watch out for that. $37 right now for DFTX. Definitely on watch there. Google for a short could be something.
Western Digital's getting smoked.
Yeah, Western Digital. Yeah, is Micron getting hit? I mean, we talked about no. Well, remember, Western Digital had that downgrade.
The downgrade, yeah.
Right. So yeah, Micron's at all-time highs again, 1204. So that's a good one there as well. Yeah, Meta. I mean, I remember I was talking about Meta. I said like there has to be something about Meta. But nice move there as the whole market trying to bounce back, right? Microsoft, look at the NASDAQ, boom, shakalaka. Glad that we got a little bit of money in the NASDAQ these days as that one's starting to work out as well. So good job there, Joe. But here we go. Good job, good job, good job as we continue to make moves here on Meta. Nice upside play there. Eli Lilly. Oh, SMCI just hearing in our ears. I like some Eli Lilly. That's down, or sorry, that's up today. That did get going and fell back a little bit. This is on a nice little downward trend as well. So talk about like trying to get diversified. You see Microsoft, IBM, all these names getting crushed similarly, 7 straight down days. Eli Lilly probably a buy in and around this 1050 as well. We averaged into more Marvell down here. So let's see what winds up happening. Marvell 303.
Yeah, and SMCI is up 11%. That's what I just heard in my ear.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. So I guess this is the chip name to rule them all this morning. How's Nokia doing? Maybe that's going to actually set up. Oh, it's just clean breakout. No dip, no support level. Clean breakout here on Nokia and just going higher and higher. This might end up being This might end up being a dip into the 14 level if possible. Unbelievable. Like there's just so much strength out there. I mean, I've seen it before where IBIT can take a bit to get going. I've got a couple of legs out, but still holding on to 2/3, and I want that gap fill. I'm gonna buy the dip in the VWAP and see if we can get there. As there goes SpaceX through the low of the day. Tesla's looking strong. SPCX doesn't really have much of a bid. It's only falling to the downside. Like on Thursday, there was a bump into VWAP, which was able to get you short twice before it continued lower. Not so much. This one is just a complete dump fest here. 7% to the downside. I guess you're getting some rotation, maybe. You know, NASDAQ strong, all the stuff that people were selling off to get into SpaceX, I guess they're just buying it right back. Huh?
All right, yeah, SpaceX. I really like some SpaceX down at these levels, but again, I think that 150, something to talk about once it gets there, and I'm pretty sure it will. You know, a couple downgrades away from that, and we'll see some SpaceX coming through again. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to, you know, we've been holding through this Marvell. I mean, we're now long at 303, but it has come right back in again. So watching out for obviously that key $300 level. We'll see if there's some hits. Okay, now we're starting to get back upside, so that's good. Starting to make a little bit of money back here on MRVL, but it still needs to go. We'll take a few outs here at 303.50 or 303.20s. Now I'm waiting for 303.60s. Maybe we get a bump up there, and then hopefully we can get back up into this 307 area. As the market's pulling, and as is Marvell right now pulling back into the downside. We're flat on this trade, but we're looking to make a little bit of money, so hopefully we do get, okay, I'm gonna take another piece. It is having a little bit of a problem here. Go, 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 Marvell. Hopefully we get to the upside there, and good average in on that. We've only taken those trades today. You're on IBIT, so I'm gonna stay away from that for now because I like IBIT's going. So I've already, for me, it was a dip buy.
Intel's giving it up.
Intel's giving it up. Okay, I don't really like to hear that. Let me take a little bit more profit. Okay, we just missed. Well, we didn't miss. We got 303.60. 66s there, I said. So we'll wait for 304s as it just went upside there into 304. I am a little worried if the rest of the names, like Neil said, are starting to give it up a little bit. Maybe Marvell does, and this whole space is not as hot as we thought. I mean, SMH, this is probably the best ETF to be in right now, I would think, SMH. We got to go to Adara. Okay, let's go to Adara.
No news here, but good look on Credo Technology. I wanted to mention, in case you guys missed it, this was at our watch list this morning. CRDO getting An outperform rating here from Evercore ISI with a $325 price target. Just rejected 308, still above 300. Keep an eye here on CRDO today. Also some housekeeping, as I mentioned earlier. We do not have any economic data coming out at 9:45 or 10, so just be aware. No economic data to worry about to start this week, that we will get some numbers later in the week, including the Fed's preferred inflation gauge, PCE, on Thursday morning. Back to you.
As I was saying just to Sean there, like Intel's starting to lose the bid. Like this, look, it gave you an all-time high break. Now that we're pulling back, the prior high at 135 comes into picture. But look at how weak we look going into it, unfortunately. Thankfully, I mean, Bitcoin hasn't really rolled over yet, but you have to wonder, with the Qs looking like this, there we go, false break, you just saw the Intel chart, false break of the high, now you're in a bit of a dip. I like the fact that you're still holding the higher low here, but I'm trying to wait for it to get into VWAP on a pullback, but it's not. We're still putting in some higher lows here in IBIT, so that can actually be pretty, hopefully, pretty constructive. If the market bounces off VWAP, then I think this one's good to go. I'm offering just above the 307 here. Why am I sitting at 6? Whatever, it just filled at 6. Usually you sit at 4. But on the other side of 5. And if we break 10s, I want to look for 20. So for now, Bitcoin is holding up pretty nicely. My guess is Robinhood still cresting 1.5% up there. So you're getting some strength out of crypto, but it's the chip names that really started to give it back. So I'll have to be pretty careful. Yeah, you're really starting to fall in on Intel. It's so different getting that dip and rip at the open than when it comes into your level, it's a false break. And the market's looking very, very heavy. Congrats to everyone that's on that NXTS. Halted up, opened up, halted up again. The tap is now $16, I think $15.60. Yeah, closed at $15.64, $16 up 200%, 500,000 float or 600,000 float, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Congrats if you happen to have this high flyer. No one ever won broke taking profit. These things can go down as fast as they come up. You know how we feel about them, but hey, it's the momentum play this morning in the small cap, micro cap space for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot to look at. I mean, I want to look at SMH just to see what that was doing in relationship to the rest of the market, because, like I said, this name holds everything in it. Micron and Intel, Nvidia, Qualcomm, you go on with SMH. So I think there's going to be some love, obviously, for this ETF at some point, down 1%. I mean, I really still like all the space that we've been seeing right here. Right now, talking about space, we did look at SpaceX. We did have Google trying to break now through 350. So again, that's going to be a level. Oh, for Marvell, I'm going to let this break through 300. My bid's at 298.50. So we've just been, like, I just got longer. I've been getting out on the way back up. I mean, the real hit is just from here, where we were able to get a little bit out and then let it fall in, which was pretty good. I mean, we were able to take some bids down here at 303 and change. But right now we got to, okay, here it comes. So there's a break. Did not, when you get that close to 300, it's just a matter of it breaking. And I thought that was probably going to break. I waited at 298.50. Looks like we just missed that. It goes down to 299 flat there and then gets bought up. So still not really loving this name. I'm going to give it a little bit of room. We're not very heavy in this stock anymore as we've been getting out of it, but I still think there's a nice downside draft here. I was talking about it on Friday, was able to get some out there at 329, which was good just before. Now it's down 10% from there. So, have done well to sort of, we all talked about getting out of some sector rotations and maybe getting into other names. So I'm not out of Marvell, not even close, but that was a little bit of a rinse job there from that report of the inclusion, right? So there it is there, whoosh, to the downside. Marvell did have it tough. The reason why we got some out at 330 is we saw that happen in the middle of the day. And then at the end of the day, I was sitting at 330, literally 330, and we changed it to 329. So sometimes some of the thinking there that we have as far as our day trading does sometimes work for a longer term. From a good position in AUR, I don't know what AUR is. So Aurora Innovation.
I'm not familiar with. Do you know?
No, of course not. I don't know it. But we can have a look. Okay, there it goes. By the way, we're now right back into the money here. As there's that's too bad that we didn't get that low bid on Marvell, but doesn't mean that that's. I don't know where it's going to go. It just went to 305, 303.05. Was not expecting that. Didn't have my offer's at 303.50. So maybe we'll put something out again, and just to get lighter in this name, right? If we can just. Yeah, software name Aurora. So there's another out there. Hopefully this can battle back and we'll get our 303.50s.
Market's screaming.
But there's the move back higher off VWAP for the NASDAQ. So yeah, nice move there. It's too bad that we didn't get those bids, but that's okay. We'll see if this can climb up through 303.50. That's where we're offering.
Oh, all I can say is, and I don't know Aurora Innovations, but they are a software company with a huge float. Yeah, if you get some, I guess it's part of like the rotation story. I don't know why they're up specifically 5% here today. I didn't see a story on them at all. But if it's a software name trying to break the trend, I think you're looking for some kind of a sector rotation, which for now, I don't know that I believe in just yet. Adara?
Confirming no news.
Yeah, no news. Okay. And again, you don't need a catalyst to go, but if I don't know them, I'm not going to sit here and like wax poetic about them as if I have some insight on Aurora. I just think if you're in the software space, like prove the bottom before I just assume it. Intel doesn't look strong, still feels like the same thing there. IBIT is just, like it's just now like slowly trending higher. There hasn't been a dip yet to be able to reload this, but for now, all systems go and it looks like it's gonna be okay. SpaceX is still yet to do much of anything on the bid. It might break the 170 level. And keep in mind, like this obviously hasn't been trading very long. There's not a lot of levels to look at, but if you lose 170 bucks, it's basically, I think it's the afternoon high was like 158. Like that's a wide gap. 158 on day one was kind of like closing support at the end of the day. And of course the 150 levels are in play. So lots of weakness here for sure in SPCX. And I'm seeing a lot of people in our chat, at least our community, saying Robinhood is having issues. The platform, I mean, that sucks. Hopefully wish everyone the best if you're able to use your Robinhood account, but it's not affecting the stock. Robinhood is up 3% and blasting higher. The market's being led by, I mean, the market's up too, but crypto was a good portion of why we're moving up. Might take another leg out here as we just made another fresh high. Just kind of double tap to 37.10. So I'm going to try and get one more fill up here before we try to grab a reload. But it has been crypto super strong. So no surprise that Robinhood's looking good, despite whatever outages they may or may not be having. And yeah, best of luck if you're having issues with whatever broker you have. Thankfully, we don't really have any execution problems very often.
No, our execution's been pretty good here. People talking about, look, I keep on, by the way, let's go Marvell. Right now, $3 in the money. We're finally starting to be a positive trade here on Marvell. Just took a minute. Qualcomm, I really like this name. I don't, in this whole sort of PC boon, what I think is about to happen, if not already. I mean, you're seeing Intel starting to go upside there. You're starting to see, well, not starting to see Intel. Intel's been going. But I think Qualcomm has its day still to come. And I think another name that maybe, not that we're sleeping on or anything, but Corning, it did have moves down into 180. Now it's right back up. It actually cracked through 200 again today. Another great dip buy spot there for Corning. A name that's been in trouble for a minute has been Alibaba. Let's have a just quick check back in to see what that's doing. I mean, it's almost at a spot now where it could get that psychological bounce, and I don't think it's ready yet, but $100 for Alibaba, that's still down 2%, so wowie wooey on that one. And another name that I really like for this whole sort of PC move higher would be AMD, and wow, okay, there goes AMD now up 3.5%. This is about 10 straight minutes of upside.
This
just
is going
crazy right there for AMD. And, I really did, it's too bad because I thought the trade of the day should have been Nvidia for me. And that was right there on that break. Now it's gone to sleep a little bit. Here is Nvidia. We did get that super chat when one of you had just, okay, I got to get something out now because now goes Marvell up through 305. Now it's $4 in right there on Marvell. But congratulations on Meta right now as that's starting to make some moves. I don't have my stream deck up, but now I do. So let's go. What's up to Ozan and everybody out there as well as we'll get hopefully we get that going through right there as we explode it out for Marvell. There it is, $4. And it's too bad because we thought about that 300 break and I was waiting at 298.50s. All right, for a decent amount of shares. Unfortunately, we missed that by 30 cents. And there it is now, breaking there. Wow. Okay, Marvell, thank you. Up to 306 now. All right, now we're approaching VWAP, so this makes sense to me. Let's put out another offer here at 50s. Maybe we get it, maybe we don't. 306.50. Now, we get paid because we're on prop. We talk about this all the time. For me to offer it out, if we get filled, we'll get a rebate a little bit from whatever gateway we wind up using. So, that's why getting out, if you have, you're paying $10 a trade or $5 or $2 or anything greater than 0 a trade. You don't necessarily want to have this many outs as you go higher, but this is the way I'm trading. And, you know, we did have some great dip buys. We don't really have any outs underneath where we've been buying. These two right there was, I had to, because we had broke through 300 and it coming all the way back up is something for me. So we will make sure to sort of watch out for another dip buy into $300. But as I said, getting more and more out here of Marvell as we continue to go. So that's really starting to battle. And then I just saw someone said, I paid for shorts on SpaceX.
SMCI is going, damn, this is...
SpaceX is losing, SMCI. SpaceX right now is losing 170. The low of the day is is it 170? We have all these low wicks, so I'm not sure. That was 169.50 right there.
It broke 70.
It did break 70. Okay, I wasn't sure. So
100% it broke.
Yeah, so we'll watch it out. But wow, now we're $6 in. There is no stopping the Marvell money bank right here, as this just keeps on coming right back upside right there. There goes Marvell. See you later, man. Good patience waiting for that one. Bitcoin 65.5. Yeah, 15% for Super Micro, Neil.
Super Micron is, for whatever reason, by far the strongest chip name out here. What's going on in there?
There is a reason. I mentioned it earlier. That reason is an Nvidia tie-up. It's all very tangential and very jargon heavy, but I guess they're having this like data center building block solutions. That's their name for it. The blueprint involves that NV link with Nvidia Vera Rubin. And if you're confused, this is me basically reciting verbatim the headline. So that's the deal here. Nvidia tie-up for SMCI.
And just so you guys know, it just tagged the 200 SMA on the daily. This is basically the only spot of resistance that's going to be on the chart today, unless it breaks out above 36. So 35 to 36. I mean, hey, it is what it is, man. Like, I look at this, I start thinking reversion. The second it does something different, I'm not going to guess at it. 36 would be the level on the chart. But if it puts any lower highs, I'll look reversion on this name. I don't really mind doing it, but I'm not going to try it just yet. I would prefer after 10 o'clock, put in a 15-minute candle instead of trying to guess early. I mean, Bitcoin, it's still, we're still trending higher, but there has, since our entry, like you could have reloaded at the entry price, but once we get a dip into VWAP, I think that'll be the continuation. So just going to try to let it ride to, it's like 37.4 is resistance, and otherwise we're going to buy that dip. But my goodness. I could have just guessed and gone short back through 35. I'm going to hold off. I'm going to hold off on SMCI for now. I do feel like it was such a parabolic move up there. Patience was supposed to be the right way to go, and now I'm kind of getting that whole, should have just shorted it when we had the chance. SpaceX, look, if it decides to pop now, I guess we're still waiting for VWAP. So the trend is working on IBIT. The trend's working on SpaceX. It just didn't get into it. So we'll slap a fail for not having any short in SpaceX. And who knows, maybe you wouldn't have even gotten the break of that low right at the open at 9:30. Guggen is saying, look at Rocket Labs. I can't imagine that's doing well with SpaceX down 8%, and it's not. It's down 5 points. So there you go. Like the space names probably, they're probably just all falling together at this moment. If Rocket Lab loses $100, that's a bit of a problem for them. So Sidhu's probably doing poorly. ASTS, I'm going to guess, isn't having a very good morning either. As the entire space heads lower. Bet you Virgin Galactic's having a rough one.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. When you're investing in companies that aren't making any money, you know, sort of, yeah, it's like we've already been through this, right?
We've learned our lessons.
Yeah, and it's fine. Like I think we're all trying to buy SpaceX. It's just, you know, at what value and for what's your time horizon? You know, like they're not going to be mining asteroids anytime soon. Maybe in the next decade, like, you know. So if you have those, we talked about names that could be blasting off. I mean, the guy had Archer and some other sort of lesser names in there than a SpaceX as far as valuation is concerned. But SpaceX you could put into that pile as well. Like a name that you're talking. You said 20 years. You know,
20 years
like that's a pretty long time. Right now, that's
a very long time.
Yeah, exactly. That's like, you know, 2/3 of my life. Okay, so if you're looking here at Marvell right now, let's go. I want to say shout out to you, Salvador. I mean, you're always here. You're always talking about some of the trades that I'm in, and you're often in similar ones. And you took the Marvell long. That is fantastic. And you know, you're feeling some kind of ways because you got out. Me too, man. I mean, this could have been an absolute monster trade, right? But you never know. And sometimes when you make that first wrong initial play there, yes, thank you so much. Have a good day, Film World, to you as well, man. I really think that that's part of it, right? It's figuring it all out and making sure that you do have. And there was another message there from you, Salvador, but this just got posted, so whatever. I can't find anymore. But yeah, it was just about trying to hold on for that huge move higher. And look, I wish that we had this crystal ball and we could, see these moves, but there we corrected it by getting out. We took some hits right here by averaging in and getting that bump longer through there. I think my best play on this one was just letting it, and this is going to sound crazy, but like letting it fall basically $10. Right into a level that $300 psychological. And then we were actually even, I'm going to say like pretty good. I pat myself on the back for this one too, because we didn't take the 300 long, which is fine. I wish we would have in hindsight, but looking back at that, like we were waiting at 298.50. We almost caught that very bottom and then that move happened. So all good on that front. But yeah, a little sad that we didn't get that move and we didn't hold it all. But this is just a recovery play right there for Marvell, and I'm glad that some of you were looking at it, and congratulations, Salvador. I mean, we were all down. You said you were down 350. I was, down more than that on that trade, but we battled it back, and so be it, right? Palantir, great name there, made a similar bottom, but this one was a little different than Marvell. It didn't drop as dramatically, down a couple bucks. Obviously, it's only a $125 name, but that made a move down into 128.50 on the battle back. I got some top wicks. This is what you want to look for. If you're seeing some resistance up top, you want to see it keep on getting hit. Well, that's kind of it, right? Like there's the move. It tried to go. And I was going to say, like very long-winded here, but these are good buys again. Like it just fell right back into what looks like a great bunch of support, man. VWAP, the 200 and the 50. Like this is exactly the stuff that I'm looking at. So good move down there for PLTR into some sort of the belly of some strength there. Palantir, I like that stock.
Let's go right up to Adara. It's 10 o'clock. What's happening now, Adara?
What's happening now here is a move up to a new high of day, it looks like, on the NASDAQ. Let's take a look at the S&P 500. Looking pretty similar here. Both of these trying to crack high of day. In this case, for the SPY, trying to crack 750. Just be aware, guys. Looks like X is down, which means the dissemination of news, because a lot of it happens during over X, rather, could be a little bit slow. Just keep an eye out, guys. The other thing to keep an eye on here is USO. USO right now trying to bounce here off of that session low as we make the third 15-minute candle of the day. It is worth noting, while we have the U.S. and Iran working towards, over the next 60 days, getting a final peace agreement, you have Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu saying that Israel is prepared to strike in Lebanon if they need to defend themselves. So just be aware, guys, tensions in that region still very much exist. A couple stocks to keep an eye on right now. Watch Micron here. MU trying to bounce a little bit. We have their earnings on Wednesday after the bell. Couple positive price targets, increases for them ahead of that report. Also signing an agreement with Anthropic. Couple different things with this agreement, including Micron pledging to invest strategically in the Series H financing round from Anthropic. Keep an eye on GeoOGL as this thing makes new session lows. Nobel-winning scientist John M. Jumper leaving DeepMind for Anthropic. This is the second exit for Google of an AI team member in a week following Noam Shazir leaving last week for OpenAI. Last but not least, SMCI continuing to make new session highs. This is one of two companies trading higher on a tie-up with the Mag 7 name. SMCI with an Nvidia tie-up here, introducing their data center building block solution blueprint for HPC, which is based off of the NVL4 platform from Nvidia's Vera Rubin. You also have NOK with a Google Cloud tie-up. They're also near session highs here. Good look for Nokia and SMCI with these Mag 7 related tie-ups. If you're enjoying the content, please make sure to hit the like and the subscribe and join us every single day the markets are open for real-time news and entertaining market content. There was also this NTB people were mentioning. It's a small cap. I couldn't find any news on it. Back to you.
Yeah, I must have rebooted it just now. Thank you very much, Adara. 16% and headed to that 36. So we said let's wait for it to make another jaunt higher or put in a lower high. Thankfully, being patient is going to end up being the right decision, it looks like, at least for now on SMCI. All right, SpaceX, is this your... You were trying to get to VWAP, but you're failing to get up there. You're still looking incredibly weak over on SpaceX. I guess the rotation is buy Tesla, sell SpaceX. 2% up, and, well, I mean, the math doesn't really work on that one because SpaceX is 8% down, but you get the general idea. So much strength. Trump Power in the chat just says SMCI, fraud of the century. Momentum is momentum.
Fraud of the century.
to say fraud of the century is a lot.
Head of the century.
Like I promise you this, there are worse things this century probably than SpaceX, and they are making a turn.
But did he say SMCI or no? He said SMCI, not SpaceX.
SpaceX. No, my bad. No, SMCI. My bad. No, not SpaceX. Not SpaceX. SMCI. You can always find worse. Last I checked, Nikola was this century. So.
Oh, there's gonna always be names. I mean, there's Mullen. There's so many shitty names.
Yeah, like that's crazy.
Let's
but look,
be honest.
momentum is momentum.
Yeah.
And, no one's forced to own or trade anything. And today, there's no question about it. SMCI with that Nvidia story is going to be the biggest runner. Might get our first dip potentially in IBIT to come back into VWAP. That's what I'm looking for next. It's that at VWAP to reload, or it's SpaceX at VWAP to go short, as that just continues to plunge lower. And for anyone wondering where the bottom might be if it's not 170 on SpaceX, there was also the close on day one. I think it closed about like 64, somewhere around there. So like the mid 160s would be the close, and then a 158. There's plenty of room for that to continue to fall. Like if SpaceX sees double digits, I wouldn't be terribly surprised at all. No way. Allbirds is up again. Oh, sorry, it's not Allbirds anymore. It's SmartBird. SmartBird is up. It's SmartBird, 26%, and another breakout. The newly minted AI company. SmartBird with another run. This is just probably a squeeze play here. And I keep forgetting to wear my Allbirds.
Yeah, you keep saying about that. I'm going to take another out here at 309 for Marvell. This is now $8. So we're going to take another out. I do have a bid. We want to, if we can get to the 200 periods, we're going to get out. We're at 310.75. We'll see if that winds up playing. But I do have a new position. Very small, quarter of a unit right now, and that's on Palantir. It's a pal of mine when it goes higher. And, I've been talking about, I haven't bought any more Palantir, nor do I really plan on doing that anytime soon. If anything, I've talked about wanting to sell Palantir. We'll buy some at 127. So our average price now 127.17s, I think is what I'm showing on mine. 18s maybe rounded up. So I was going to actually wait for 126 to break, 126.50, to break. If it does, fine. I'm not going to hold this one all the way down. It's had a huge move, not a huge move, but it had a nice move early, and then the huge move was the long side. So we kind of hoping to get that now. We had looked at this chart and we had said that we do have some nice support down into here. So we took it first at 30 just because it fell right into our lap right there. And this is why we don't have a huge position now, because it fell back. I was actually waiting for I did the same thing I did on Marvell here, waiting for a little lower. We were waiting for 126.85. That doesn't look like that's coming through, but here's a win for us on PLTR so far, as it's back in the money. Let's see how far it can go. I'm going to wait just at this 25 period moving average. That's 65, so we do have an offer right at 127.65. So hopefully that will come through, maybe a little bit out at 50 first, and then we'll see if we can get through that level there. And then a quick take, as we've already talked about it, we did get some out on Marvell at 309, so that was a good one. We're actually holding now on Marvell, probably about 15% left, so we're getting lighter and lighter on that one. I'm looking at this halt chart here. So there was still that DFTX, which is the successful phase 3. It used to be old MindMed there. So some psychedelics getting approved into some phase 3s. So you're going to go look up that story if you did want. I'm just looking to see what names are halting.
Weld.
Yeah, Weld. So that's 6,000. That's nothing on that one. QXL has also been halting. Quantum X Labs, that's up. That's 1 million shares today. That could be something to look out for. CUSD halted. I don't like. Unfortunately, our halt scanner and I 200 shares. This is what I mean.
It doesn't sort.
It doesn't sort by. There is no volume sorter, and I actually got to put that out. As a request, I think that would make a lot of sense because there's what we see,
kind of
just names with times, so we don't know the volume. But here's another one, RTB, another halt coming through, and oh boy, I mean, we have a great trade on with Marvell. Obviously, we saw where that was going, and now we've got one here on Palantir. So it just stopped at 40. I'll switch my 50s into 40s. We'll see if we can grab a little bit there. It's a nice little profit if we can get it, which we just did. So we're starting to sort of stack on stack on stack right now, and see if we can have 2 winners on 2 trades. So far so good. SpaceX, we're both hearing this in our ear. Yeah. We already talked about the offering that was there today for SpaceX. So, oh, there it is. What's up? Rohan, hope you're doing well as well, man. Your insights on BlackBerry. Yeah, that's the thing. We BlackBerry did have such a. Oh, by the way,
Kramer called him a buy.
Oh, did he?
It was a while. I'm pretty sure he did. I think I heard him call it a buy, but
I don't know. But it's a New York name, right?
It's a good comeback for
up to $9. Yeah. By the way, we will do that. Yeah, BlackBerry up 8%. So yeah, I guess they're now just a software name, right? So you got to figure out what's going on with them. I know that they did have obviously those hardware, sort of went by the wayside there. And I thought they were into cars and autonomy.
QNX was their software.
Palantir is really that one right now.
Again, it's a good comeback play, but there's still some residual meme aspect to it, not completely though. So I think it benefits a little bit by that, but it already pulled back. So this is a great bounce on BlackBerry. You need to continue through 950, or that's kind of a nothing burger for sure. But yeah, look at it today at the 950 for a bit of a crest. I did finally get into SMCI. It broke. So see the breakout of the pre-market high. Then there's, oh goodness, there we go. Then there's this steep trend line, which it just broke with a topping tail, so jumped in here when it broke the prior bar. Gonna look for 34.75, and then the volume weighted average price for SMCI. And Scott is saying, look at RTB.
Yeah, we called that up. That was a halter.
That was the halter?
Yep.
The most recent one.
Yep.
Yeah, this. I would be careful.
It was about 1 million shares.
It's not doing
it just reopened and
not
halted.
Even 1 million shares.
By the way, SpaceX,
600,000.
Tesla. I mean, I don't know, man. Tesla is really going right now, up 3% as it continues to go. So we'll shout out to Adara, see if there's anything going on right now, because Tesla is really getting off right here, up to 414 from 392. I mean, this name really ripping around there, Tesla. We did say Palantir was on one, and it was. And we got, I mean, it came right into our levels, man. We talked about 127.80. We got that fill. We got to fill there at 70. We got to fill at 50. So right now, starting to go. We do have a strengthening of the yen right now. So you can see here the dollar is starting to move a little bit way to the downside. So that's going to be a really nice move here on the DXY. So there it goes back down to the downside. So a down move in the dollar does spike many tech stocks, right? So there goes, we've already talked about that relationship, and there it comes right back down in, and now it's starting to get going a bit, but there's a nice downside move. As I was just hearing something about Japan intervening here. So the dollar with some strong moves there right now. Still trying to buy some Palantir at 286, 286.
And intervening in currency?
Yeah.
Never.
Their yen, yeah. 126.85 is the next sort of buy zone for me right now. And it does look like we are having some kind of problems here with Marvell. I'm not going to look too much of a gift horse directly in the mouth here. We're going to offer right now, again, 308.60s. If it spikes up, great. If not, like I said, we're down to about, I think it's about 12% as I do the math on this. So we'll wait for Marvell to see if it comes back up to 309.50. But I am at 308.60 for a fill, which is going to happen right now. Now? How about now?
Again. Say it again.
And then? There it is. So there we go, man. We got the diamond hands back on Marvell, now $7. It's just, just a trade for me. But yeah, that NXTS just halted. Again, another name that maybe is something to look at. This was something that is 35 million shares. This was one that we had talked about earlier in the pre-market. And oh boy, has that gone higher. This was $11 in the pre-market. Halts at 14, halts at 16. Now halts at 1991. Not a bad year, but right there you're coming in. 1991 is the tap.
92 is better.
So yeah, 92 is better. And there you go. And into 93, can we get some Blue Jays World Series action right there? And then we'll wait to see where this taps out at right now, but it looks like it's around flat. But yeah, it's right there, 309 now for Marvell. So that move is starting to happen. But yeah, Palantir is what we're waiting for. But that Tesla, Adara, find if there's news on this. This just went absolutely insane. Yeah, it just broke through 400 and didn't stop.
I wonder.
There were big issues with X, as I mentioned, so the news dissemination is really off. Give me a couple seconds here.
Okay, yeah, because X was down.
Yeah, so. X was having issues. I mean, people are having issues with
Still not seeing anything on Tesla. There's some stuff on SpaceX apparently mandating banks to arrange 6 fixed income investor calls, but that wouldn't necessarily be moving Tesla. Like looking back here, even with the delay on X, I'm not seeing anything with TSLA.
Yeah, there you go. They could look. Maybe there's like this weird rotation where people are buying into Tesla and selling SpaceX. It's a safer way to hold on to it because Tesla's going to have some growth, and then maybe you get SpaceX down the line. I don't know, but it's just worth speculation. I end up not holding through first support on SMCI. It did bounce briefly at 34.75, but you wouldn't know it by now. We're still heading lower, so first short is not going to be in SpaceX, even though I thought it was going to be. We're still looking for our VWAP dip buy in IBIT. It's pulling back. So we basically got most of it into the high, but there hasn't really been a turn. If we turn above VWAP, I'll just try to reload it over the pre-market high break. Because it's just almost like a clean re-break of the high, and then pulling back into the prior high is going to be the way to go. As crypto has led the way, and a lot of it, I mean, Robinhood's also looking like it could be giving it up. Big topping tail candle there in Robinhood. I'll just wait for the opportunity in IBIT, but SpaceX is the disappointing one. For sure. It's allergic to the volume weighted average price. It's about to take down 170.
I think it's probably a short.
I might just short. Look, if you're not going to get VWAP, you got to short something else. The low of the day break, I can't even tell because we have those dark pool wicks, looks like about 169.5.
That Google's back to 350, by the way.
Would be the low. You said, sorry.
Google's back to 350, so I was just going to say
$350.
Yeah. It wasn't too far away from it before. We were trying to short 360s right there for Google. I am on SpaceX. I'm going to wait for 171.50 to short. But there it is, man. 350 is coming in right now on Google. So nice little break zone there. We are going to have to suffer through Palantir. If it breaks 126.50, like I said, we're out. It did fall in. We were very, very patient with our bids. And we took it right there at the 200. Looks like it's going to break lower, which if it does, it's fine. I'm not, N-O-T, going to sit in this one and let this one bleed. No way. We know how dramatic these names can go. So there it is. There's the out. We will slap to fail. I mean, no problems telling you about the winners and the losers there today. But yeah, SpaceX, by the way, just takes 170 and see you later on that one. I think we could join the party here.
Oh my God.
If we're lucky enough to get some shorts. We'll wait at 169 for a little bit of a bump up there on SpaceX. I think we just got Marvell, by the way. Yeah, no, we didn't. No, we didn't get anything. The Palantir just came out. That's all that happened. So now we're waiting for SpaceX SP. I saw my net sort of flash a little bit there. I was like, that's not going higher. But now it looks like we're getting shorter and shorter now on, okay, we'll take a little bit of SpaceX here at 169.13. So we'll wait, like we said, for this fill as now it's coming back in. We're short now, SpaceX. New position alert on this one. Let's go to 168.70s. We'll put a bid there, see if we get that. And we'll wait on that 168.79. We're going to bid that and see if we just take a quick little 40, 50 cents. But I still do like it short against VWAP, which is 172, which is where we're sitting for more shares. So I am expecting to get a little more short here on SPCX. But if it breaks that level right now, we have a bid right underneath that 168.80. I don't know why someone was sitting there, but we'll see if we can get a fill there and we'll move on that one. So yeah, so far so good here as we finally go short SpaceX.
Yeah, I tried the break and didn't get filled, but I just left the order in. So I feel like if it was 169.5, that was the actual low of the day break, so I'll probably get swept up on the way back in. And this has not been very good at all for SpaceX. SMCI is coming into VWAP, so if the strongest chip name is going to catch a bid, you would like to think it's going to be a little bit soon. I already talked about IBIT, but one that we haven't gone over since the open, Intel. Choppy. Very choppy, yet strong. So it's still strong relative to some of the other chip names, but an absolute chop fest in the middle. I'd love to see it hold this higher low. Like, show me that, show me the higher low, hold the higher low here, and then try to break out this top at 139.40. Otherwise, I can't really be long this because it'll be breaking this bottom end trend. And I need to be able to see that hold. Otherwise, we're not going to get into Intel. Didn't fill the gap to try to get into the prior high at 135. So that wasn't fulfilled, but it can hold VWAP here and give me a trend line entry, and then hopefully it can make another all-time high if we're able to get that at all. Yuckity yuck yuck, I just saw Netflix and people talking about that, but one thing we haven't done, I'm just gonna throw up here. So Scott saying bye-bye SMCI, throw a $ in front of that bad boy. So that maybe SMCI has a chance on our on our visualizer to top NXTS, which is still the leader. You got Tesla, SMCI, SpaceX, AMC now down on the day. Wasn't that up? I guess they, well, couldn't stay up after all. Marvell's going to be up here. We got Robinhood, Micron, Nvidia, all names that we would expect, with the exception, I would think, of AMC, which went from positive to negative after. I suppose it was up because of the positive box office from Toy Story. I can't really think of another reason why that would have been up.
Yeah, that's why, I would think.
Yeah, you got a good opening weekend for Toy Story.
Some kind of
right, here comes the VWAP dip finally for IBIT. Only took about 15 minutes from the highs.
Oh, yeah.
From the highs for this to finally get here.
All right, man, now we're starting to work with gas, and we actually, let's go. Man, SpaceX, man, wow. What a stock this has been. And we've been talking about, what's been happening to SpaceX, and there it is again, man. Thank you, appreciate that one there, whoever hit that. But yeah, there it goes, man. We're now short. We just, again, not too much. Oh, it's Joe. What's up, Joe? Yeah, because Wilson Catena Capital, I guess we're net short SpaceX right now. I still got some in my own account, right? We bought some at 172. We had talked about that one, so we're going to be underwater on that and waiting, I think like many people, for in and around that 150 area for SpaceX. But yeah, just noticing the short there. We were waiting for bigger, so we have about a quarter of a unit on, same kind of thing that we had on there for Palantir, but that's trying to go now. So we'll just wait. We've got some covers. We got a cover there at 70. We talked about that cover, and we got some more right here at 50s. So as we start to bleed down on SPCX, why not put another bid at 168, like 168, maybe 15s. We'll put a bid there and see if we can get that fill, and then we'll just go on and watch it continue to go to the downside. And then we've got another one. We've got a $10 winner, so we have a key for that. And if you're in the dollar club, now you got 10 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right there for Marvell. Like, again, dip buy opportunities available early, stopped out, didn't get stopped out, held this all the way. I mean, we're not going to get stopped out, but that was a nice move to the downside there. And we talked about having a quarter unit, loading it more here, similar to, we've got basically a quarter unit of all of these moves, and then we try to assess, a downside play. I don't know if we got lucky or not, but the bounce off 300, right back there into 311. So, hey man, as it goes, you got to be good to be lucky and lucky to be good. And I think right into there, we did write down Marvell as an idea today. It failed on that first idea, but definitely has been working here as the market's not doing anything, and Marvell is almost at day's high. So definitely feeling that trade there. And we'll just wait for SpaceX, man. Let's see if that one can get into the dollar club, man. We were 10 cents away from that. And that's what we're doing. Toy Story 5, great movie. And I think that if you're going to look at that, that's a Disney play. So looking at Disney as well, we did have a nice move higher there on Disney over the last little while, but it's now faded out. So watch out for Disney even coming back in and breaking that $100 level. Is Toy Story Pixar, or I don't know?
Yeah, Pixar.
Yeah, Pixar there. So watching out to see what's going on there. What's up, Fabian?
Fabian in the house?
Fabian's in the building. You see Toy Story? Which one? 5.
I don't think Fabian's not watching no Toy Story.
What do you want me to do?
That's for the kids. That's for the kids. We're going to go to Dare with the small cap, but first trade so far today for me in Intel, and it's going to be about this trend line. I don't mind reversing this, but my first look is going to be into the long side here. It's just in front of 39. If we lose VWAP, this has to be a reverse just based on the trend that we see. Thank you very much there, Rob, for the reload on coffee. The other thing that just happened is we got back in IBIT. We went 1 for 1 on IBIT and then came back in to the volume weighted average price for a little bit of a dip. So we're reloaded here into Bitcoin. That's at about 65K. So looking for that to hold on for dear life. Still don't mind the idea. You know what? I don't want to be dip buying too many things. SMCI, it worked, took the short halfway to VWAP, thinking was incredibly strong. But I don't know if I want to be dip buying anything else. I don't think that's going to be the play. Allow a couple of other names to bounce off VWAP instead of
I have the black one
at this point. And hope people took some profits on NXTS if you were able to get the highs, because 2380 was about as high as it got. It is now halted down with a tap of 1927. 290% up. This is probably like the 5th or 6th halt, I think, of the day today. The float is tiny. We said this might halt multiple times. This could halt double digits today. So it's just floating from one halt to the next. Currently the first down halt of the day, however. So you know how these work. When everyone broke taking profits, they're around for, it's a good time, not a long time when it comes to some of these small cap names. Or small cap.
Yep.
Micro cap.
Micro's a good word.
Yeah, it's not a problem.
Can we get an update on Google here, Dara? I mean, I know that story was John Jumper jumping, but now you're broken through 350, and it's just like there's a yeah, bless you. There's a downside as Neil sneezes, Google loses $1. But yeah, we're down here right now and breaking a hell of a lot lower. I was talking about like I liked this name.
So there's no other news other than the John Jumper thing. They did invest apparently $75 million in A24, which is a very well-known studio behind the likes of Backrooms. You'd think that would be a good look for Google. Alas, it does not seem to be. That's being reported by Wall Street Journal. As far as I know,
not even a lot of money,
it's yet to be confirmed. So yeah, $75 million investment in A24. And again, they're not like, acquiring them or anything, just investment.
I thought the investment was like in the billions, and like now it's 75 million. Like
75 million.
Again, these guys sneeze like Neil just did, and that drops out of Google's pockets. I don't really know about that. But hey, maybe we're getting a bounce now, a psychological level of 350. I mean, it's low. It only broke and it went down 20 cents. So it's not, you are getting that refresh on that level. I mean, the thing is, I could wrap my head around that Marvell move, which, by the way, we now have 5% left as we take it out at. Like, I didn't.
Oh, sorry.
Go.
What was that?
Do small cap, whatever, because I know there's Unity.
Oh, small cap recap. Okay. Well, let me throw it to Adair in 30 seconds. Okay, for small cap recap. But I just was going to say, like Marvell, I could understand because we did talk about that move down there, and I really wanted to try to support this level. And then you did see the play that we talked about SMH and sort of the rally. The rally back in the chipset. And, so Marvell has, to me, followed the leaders back up to the upside there. And so we cash it out. But yeah, Google's a strange one to me. That Backrooms was such a good movie there. And, I think that'll open up the eyes to that smaller studios there. And, don't all have to be these billion-dollar movies. We just talked about Toy Story. I mean, how much is that? They probably paid Tom Hanks more than the whole entire production of Backrooms cost. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case.
They don't pay the animators much, I'll tell you that.
Well, yeah, that's fine. But I just mean like for the actors.
It's always about the actors.
Yeah, of course. So right here, we'll wait to see what winds up happening. As there goes Google. So maybe there is no backroom move here for Google. It just keeps on going lower and lower and lower. All right, Adara, yeah, I mean, there's been much better ones than that. So let's go back over to the desk now. It is small cap recap with Miss A.
Yeah, I read this morning that Toy Story cost $250 million to make. So that is the production cost, just a cool $250 million to make Toy Story 5. Let's talk here about RTB. This is RTB Digital. No news on this. This is one that a lot of our chat was talking about. Just under $21 million market cap. Not seeing any float or short float information here for RTB, unfortunately. GETY, Getty, already giving up a lot of this move, but interesting catalyst, I think, worth mentioning. This is also under Watchlist this morning. OpenAI and Getty signing a display agreement to integrate licensed visual content into ChatGPT. The financial aspects of this arrangement were not disclosed. The company here, GETY, has a $500 million market cap, float here of about 85 million shares, 19% short float or so. And let's take a look here at WKSP. This one's been on watch lately, I feel. They had another catalyst this morning, announced that their May gross margin was at 35%. They also landed a distribution agreement with Mayer, and they're targeting a revenue run rate of over $36 million. WKSP is a market cap of just under $11 million with a float of 9.8 million shares and a short float of about 9.6%. Back to you.
Thank you, Adara. And the reverse has happened now. Intel breaks the trend line, so out and reverse short, which we can't do in order, so actually I had to put two. But IBIT not yet. I feel like it's still trying to hold. I have my stop. The original stop is in from the original long. But if it can get back and maybe get closer up in the VWAP here, we're going to try and grab another one. Another load in here on IBIT. So it hasn't really broken that low. So for now, it's still going to be all good. SMCI is starting to come in and hold VWAP as well. It's looking a little bit better. So I might take a shot at SMCI to the long side if it can close some green candles above here. About 34.25 or so on that bad boy. So let's see. We're in patience mode now as we're still looking for some kind of a bid on SMCI. I don't want to be VWAP dipping too many places.
So these two trades are $8 now in the money, and yeah, just doing what we do best, I hope, and host a show, give you guys some winning trades. There you go. I mean, we like SpaceX so much we got it 3 times right there at one. So we got them 169 I don't know, 169 flats or so was about, what are we short at right now? 169.09. So yeah, it just broke through 166. So there we go. Now 220 now in the money on the short side for SpaceX. Let's go to 166.50. And how many shares do I have left? Okay. So we can put a bid there and see what winds up happening at 166. Now we're going to wait at 166.50. We'll see if we could take 260 on this. And then I'm just going to wait for lower. There's really no levels here on SpaceX. I mean, if you look at a daily chart down here, I don't know. These wicks didn't even happen. So 151, 160, these didn't even happen. So we'll wait to see if they, wind up actually happening, and we'll be able to get some more love there. Okay, here it comes now. We're waiting for that, like I said, that $2.60 winner there on SPCX. It's been clean, right? It did. They give you opportunities to reload. I mean, we did reload it. We were short right there. We got more when it came back up. So that was a good trade there, up to 169.15s or whatever. And now it's trying to fill the bid. Hopefully, we are bidding. Where am I bidding? Let's make sure I'm bidding there. Yeah, 166.51. So you know what, man? Good enough. If we can get a 69er, we'll just take that, and we'll cancel our 51 fill. It came in. There it is. We got it. So there it goes, man. We'll props it up. Hopefully, some of you guys are short with me now, as there goes SpaceX. You're never too late to take a trade that you like. You know, like you can always wait for the ultimate trade. Like I'm still waiting up here at 170 and 172 for that short, but there's no point. Like now we're really starting to crash in. So, take a little bit. You never have your full load on when this is happening, but at the same time, enough to make money. When you're $3 in the money, there's enough there, right? And so, yeah, been a little bit of a rough day trying to chase out Marvell there, and that's been working. We did get another piece out there as we bounce off VWAP. So now we're down to less than 5% on Marvell, SpaceX, and then we lost on Palantir. But this is what happens when we win and lose. These are the wins. This is the loss. So fine, S&P 500 now negative. As you can see on the day, that's getting hit now, but Bitcoin losing the bid as well, down to 65,000. Everything is starting to get going south side right here. I don't know if this is part of it or not, but SpaceX starting to go, now down 10%. And then the biggest and the baddest of them all, man. I mean, you want to talk about a name that doesn't even have a PE, SpaceX, because there's no earnings, to a name that does have a lot of earnings, and I thought was pretty healthy, and I was loving that bid at 350. Now it's at 348.50. So here comes Google, straight up to the downside today. Not much love in this name. And we can look over, it's almost 10:30, so there's lots of stuff to look at here. But if you look at this watch list that I've been looking at, and we sort of sort it by what's been going on, we did indicate Roblox early. That's down 7%, so that continues to go. ARM now down 5%, Amazon down 4%. That's a big one for Amazon. I like Amazon. I don't know which one I like to buy more, Amazon or Google. Palantir down. I definitely don't want to buy Palantir. Netflix, no. Broadcom, no. Baba, no. USO, no. All these names I don't like. Oracle, yes. I think I could buy some Oracle. SMR until it has a 10 handle on it. That's a no. I like DraftKings, but a nice run they've had. Meta, no. Microsoft. I mean, I'm already in these names, so that's why I'm saying no to them. And if we go over here to the high side, we have Marathon. So that's been a nice move higher today. I don't know why that's up 13%. I know Bitcoin's where it is, but
it's crypto.
Yeah, but still, it doesn't really. I mean, 14%. Coinbase only up 3%. SMCI up 11%. Neil's been talking.
It was 16 though.
No, I know, but just saying names that are flying around here with the NASDAQ basically going back to zeros. There's Tesla got to 415. Now it's at 409. I think that's a buy at some point as well. Qualcomm I really like. So just a quick little rundown of a bunch of names. Walmart I don't like, but whatever, at 117, I think you can do worse. J&J, I really like J&J. We've talked about that one. Cerebras, recent IPO, down today as well. And then Nvidia. Man, Nvidia going, I mean, you said the market, well, I said the market, ES gone red for a minute ago, but it's now the NASDAQ that is really bleeding down. And now we're $3 in the money now on SpaceX. So that name just continues to work out. But yeah, your Intel short, that's probably crushing right now.
No, it's basically holding right at view. It was a trend break that's going, but I'm short one on a trend break and long SMCI off VWAP here. Should have held the short all the way into VWAP on SMCI, but you can't really change the story. Is what it is. It's still a pretty relatively strong name, but Intel broke this trend. I was long in front of VWAP, broke the trend. It's holding the trend line at least for now, so I kind of put that prior bar in, but it's still holding at VWAP. So as long as that does, I'm looking low of the day here, basically. I want to see if I can get first support and then LOD here on Intel. And even as I said, just a second ago, I was showing you guys SMCI bouncing off VWAP and starting to go. Now look at this. Even it's losing the bid.
SMCI?
Yeah, I should have stayed short this name, I'm feeling. But if I get out of this one and it loses VWAP, I'll probably look for a secondary short at some point. So, we're into, I almost said Tesla. We're definitely not shorting that. Intel was the one. Is that just hit the bid? I bet you Tesla's even losing it here. Yeah, even Tesla's losing it. Everything is starting to come back in. You know what? I kind of feel like if there's another hold of VWAP here, it might be still early on SMCI.
Basically, everything's flushing.
Everything is absolutely flushing.
I just ran into Nvidia there, and I got out immediately. Like, it broke, and it just flushed out. Yeah. So maybe Nvidia could be a buy. Let me try this. I just got out at, let me go to 209.79 or so. It just broke into 210, and I was long at 210.15 or something the first time there when it fell back in, and we just flushed it out as soon as it broke. I was like, I'm not going to be part of this. I didn't even actually realize that I still had a bid out there. That's how dramatic these moves have been right now. So we'll just give this 20 cents now and take less shares, right? We'll see if we have a Marvell moment where it's flushing down in and finds a bid at a key level, just like Marvell did at 300. We'll see if that wants to wind up working now. Hopefully it does, man. We're just long right here right now. NASDAQ 100 negative, ES negative, $4 now on SpaceX. Oh, well, it just bounced. Now 350 on SpaceX. Is that starting to make moves to the low side? And there goes, yeah. So Nvidia is going to be a problem. I think everything here today, big rebalancing, it looks like, out of some of these names. And we had mentioned that Micron was also, potentially due for a move down as it's getting ready for earnings. And I was just thinking, if there's going to be a switch up now, into different names away from, and you're seeing SpaceX downside, you're seeing a lot of these names downside today. If there's going to be a different change, maybe Micron gets hit at some point before earnings, right? Do you want to take the risk if you're well in the money on a name like Micron? A lot of the control is going to be based on options, but right now it is making a nice move down. Of course, that's SpaceX, and we'll see if Micron can do the same thing right now. But nice little battle back here for Nvidia. I'm going to take something out.
So Scalp Hunter in the chat.
Great name.
The question is a great name. Do you guys know what platforms allow shorting on SpaceX? That you think Thinkorswim doesn't allow it? Thinkorswim doesn't allow it?
Thinkorswim, that'd be a good one.
I know, my bad. Thinkorswim doesn't.
Oh, you just came up with a great name.
No, it's more likely locates aren't free, if I had to guess. At Real Trading, we're still paying for locates, but it's like a fraction of a cent that we pay for the ability to borrow shares and then go short. So usually with an IPO, that's the case. So if you can't short it, it's because you need to borrow the shares first. So, and again, you can acquire with your broker. I don't know off the top of my head
take your broker
who you can and who you can't borrow shares with. I can just tell you here at Real Trading that we've got them. And we've had them every single day. We had them on day one. It was a little more pricier. And the prices come down every single day. So, not to toot the horn of Real Trading, but we pretty much are able to get locates on anything we want to. And that matters, too. If you find that your broker is not allowing you to trade how you want, get the fills where you want, then they work for you. You're allowed to get rid of them or move somewhere else, move your money. Oh, look at the bounce that just happened. There's a bounce on Intel right off of this support, 137.5, back into the higher lows. So I did reload the shares that we took out. It's still on that trend break, but starting to scream a bit to the upside. SMCI, we're looking to add to this one on VWAP if we can. This is basing out pretty nicely. Again, super strong name, 12%. I guess it was an Nvidia story here for SMCI. And the other thing to keep in mind with these guys is...
Go Nvidia.
Like, this is at the 50. Like, this would be 50 period to 200 on the daily. So it's at a pretty key level as we speak.
Yeah, we just had a nice little rip up there in Nvidia. And thankfully, this is what we're talking about. Like, trying to be obviously not trying to be, being as transparent as we can be. And it's just like, we talked about getting stopped out real quick when that broke, right? And we went back into the name because we thought we believed in it, but we just went in with less shares. So, trying to make back a little bit of what we lost there on Nvidia, and we just were able to take something out there at 40s. And then, did we get that 50 fill or not? We got, 37 was our best fill. We were actually also waiting at 49. So it's not like it's ripping up huge, but take a little bit of advantage there, and we don't have a huge amount of shares. So, all right, SpaceX right now, we just took a bid at 166.60s on the way back up. Just thought that maybe I rode this a little too long, and we didn't really break that 166. So it does go into 165.60s there. wondering at some point where the dip buyers will come in for SPCX. So we talked about Walmart. I don't know, we looked at Target the other day, and that was really cooking back up there to the upside. So we were really happy with that one. But I think Walmart, again, it did have a real nice run, and I didn't even realize that it fallen in like this. Like, it got back up to 121, and we were sort of celebrating that discussion that we had down there at 112. But now it's trying to come back in a little bit. So, to try to diversify a bit, maybe some Walmart into your retail side of things. And, this is why we get out of that Nvidia, not get out of it, but we talk about it. It does make that move higher, and then we stop out again. So, not reloading with multiple chances many, many times, worth it. Like, you don't need to keep getting back in. Like, if it breaks, take it, try to massage a bit. If it goes up, great, and then when it falls, you can slip back out of that one. So there goes Nvidia back to the downside. We'll see what happens now, but that one looks like it's failing as well. I mean, AMD got to 555 today.
AMD's a bit different.
560s, yeah, but they're still down. AMD's still down $20 from its highs.
I can tell you, Intel broke right back to the upside. So we'll slap the fail on the reversal short. Broke the trend, there's the prior bar, which is always going to be my stop, but look at it now screaming to the upside as they're going higher. We have 2 super chats, but one's to you. The first one was directed to you, so I'm going to, Nick just sent one now, so I'll get to this one.
Yeah, go.
In a great swing options trade on Beam, you still have 30% of the trade.
You just got to go short.
Holding on some profits there as well. Always appreciate your thoughts. Think CRISPR, FDMT are next. Also thoughts on SWKS. That's a lot. That's a lot.
A lot of thoughts.
No, Beam Therapeutics. You like the therapeutic names, don't you? You like that space, which is fine. Like, it's like, to me, momentum is momentum. The longer the consolidation, the better. But this is more like a channel trade, that Beam. So if you're letting this one ride, it's been making higher lows. It just has to put in a higher high as we speak. And then I think you already know. Like, you look at a CRISPR.
Oh, you
like,
didn't
this
know?
is a shot. Like, this is one of those like shot plays to end, to end shot plays. It's just not moving. You've heard my thoughts on this before, Nick. The longer the consolidation, I think the better the break. But you're waiting for 60 to go. Like, to me, you either buy the bottoms or you're waiting to take a 60 break on CRISPR. I don't think there's much of an in-between on this. And I wouldn't be fighting. Like, there's better. This is a complete, okay, maybe they could get taken out. Maybe they get some kind of a big breakthrough. But you can always just jump into the trade. Like, I had this as like a pick this year. It's just basically going sideways. And if you want it, like 50 and under seems to be the better place to be able to pick that one up, as it's been languishing, I'd say, and just too much chop there for CRISPR.
All right, CRISPR Therapeutics, good one. Another Kathy Wood name coming there for sure. So have a quick look at that. Shout out to my lovely wife. Thank you so much for a great weekend. She was watching earlier. I don't know if she's watching now. We will reload a little bit of SpaceX here. Only because it's at the 25 period. I mean, I'd still really like to see it at VWAP. I mean, we haven't taken VWAP at all until that very morning trade that it was bouncing around and it got to the 50. Now the 50s are at 169. So I think that's a much safer. I mean, look, obviously SpaceX can do either thing right now. We must have hit SSR. Yeah, so we did hit SSR. So right now it's tougher to go short, even if you can find the locates, which is another problem that we heard from one of our viewers there, right? Asking for which brokers have shorts for it, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm gonna try again here at 160, and then we got light, like we took it out. We didn't take it all out, but we took some out there. I'm gonna wait for 169 again for SpaceX, so let's be patient. And this was another one of those things where we did give it a minute on Marvell, we did give it a minute on Palantir, and even on Nvidia. By the way, we got another position on board here, so we'll just go gates of hell, because we did reload Nvidia, but this time it was the other way. You gotta learn your lessons, right? I mean, if you're a kid and you keep touching a stove and it's hot, and you keep burning your hand, the next time you touch it, you only have yourself to blame, And so if I keep going long on this, then yeah, that's my bad. And right now we go from 80s now short into 40s. So now it's 40 cents the other way. So trying to make back a little bit of what we lost here on Nvidia by trying to go short. So, realize it breaks the key level. So we just took that short. It's kind of the same logic, and it's, it's coming back now, but it's what I was thinking about with SpaceX. Once SpaceX took that 170 level, we just kind of flipped into the short there, and then noticing that we did want to short anyways. So it's kind of that talk for now. But yeah, be careful with SpaceX. Can we review the nano cap Lighten, ALTAI, Euronext? I don't know anything about this. Seems like the next moonshot. I'm in since €5 with a monster position, says Pedro. Okay, so the nano cap. Oh, nano cap. Oh, my bad. I thought we were talking about chips there. Okay, so the nano cap. So very small cap market cap, I guess is what you're getting at. It's called Light-On. So ALTAI. Okay, so I have no idea. ALTAI. So here it is. Okay, we do have it. So no, this is not the right one. This is not what you're talking about. Altair Minerals, is that what you're referring to? If so, we do have it here on the Australian market. That's not it. ALT, what do you say?
I don't think we have it.
ALTAI.
I don't think we have it.
No, this Altair Resources is not it, obviously. So yeah, unfortunately, I can't review it. Our charting doesn't do that. But if you guys want to, maybe there's another name that you can give us that we can have a quick look on. All right, SPCX, just real quickly, and then I'll go back. Right now, it's 10:40, man. We're getting close. I did get the what's for lunch this week, so we'll be able to tell that soon.
I was going to say, I can do the sector.
Oh, don't have it.
Okay, yeah, we'll do the sector watch whenever. But we were waiting for 169 to come through on SpaceX. Don't have it. So came pretty close, man, 168.30. Now we're starting to reverse back in, so that's a good trade. And then I'm going to take another bid here on Nvidia at 48s, just because that's been the low. Now we'll see if Nvidia wants to bleed. All right, Neil, if it's okay with you, we're going to go back to Adara for sector watch.
Hi, guys. Here's a sector board. There is a lot of strength, but I feel like the red is kind of standing out more, so we'll start with weakness. Tech services, Google down 5.5%, losing its second AI team member in roughly a week. You've got John Jumper jumping over to Anthropic after Noam Shazir already announced he's leaving for OpenAI. Palantir and Netflix also sharply red. Oracle, Meta, Microsoft to the downside. Retail trade, Amazon down 3.5% ahead of its Amazon Prime Day event, which is set to kick off tomorrow and end on Friday. You've also got weakness here in Lowe's and AutoZone here, AZO. Consumer services weak. We've got Booking here down about 4%. Non-energy minerals led here by NEM to the downside, with the rest of the sector relatively flat. Health tech with a lot of weakness in the non-marquee names. AbbVie to the upside there, acquiring this Apogee company, and Eli Lilly and Johnson & Johnson, both lightly green. You've got strength here in producer manufacturing. Caterpillar above that $1,000 level. Consumer durables strong. You've got strength in utilities, health services, finance, and most of electronic tech. You've got Broadcom and Nvidia, of course, to the downside, but Intel, Dell, Seagate, Micron, KLAC, and SanDisk all to the upside. Back to you.
Good old AbbVie, we love some AbbVie there. A name that, I was talking about that since the Botox days. I think that was like 20 years ago. That's what got me initially into it. But yeah, SpaceX right now, $2. We just took another profit point on SpaceX as it goes right back into the low of the day. And we talk about having, Adair coined this, that confidence. And it's just like, if you're in a position and you like, I was looking for more short, and we did reload it right there. So there you go, man. We used to get out when we broke key levels. Now, if we like the position, we're going to try to stick in it a little bit. There it goes, man. SpaceX, my number one P&L name today, SpaceX. And we sort of just started that late, right? Just after 10 o'clock, quarter after 10, we started the short there on SpaceX. And we're going to try to see what happens with Nvidia. Nvidia just battled right back, by the way. Like, I don't know, we got a 209.30 fill there. So I'm not going to plan on reloading this to 210.50. And even then, man, maybe this is on its comeback. So I'm not 1,000% sure exactly what my plan of action is going to be here on Nvidia. But I'm going to wait for 210.50. And then I think if it does break 211s, then we can get out. So, getting a little lighter on Nvidia, I think, is the right way. It seems to be a little stronger than I'm even giving it credit for. And there's the 166 again. We haven't broke. There it is. Okay, so that's the break. We just happened right now on SpaceX. Let's put a bid down there. We get an 80 fill. And now we'll wait to see how low can we go now on SpaceX. I'm going to bid 165.50. That'll be $2.50 again. So if we can get that, then great. And then let's just wait, man. Let's wait for 165 flat. We'll see if we can get that. And then downside now for SPCX. So far, so good on that one. And then it's just Marvell, which I've kind of left. right now. But now that I'm looking at this, it's underneath VWAP. So let's offer some Marvell right there at 307. There it is. So we get that fill. And now we just wait for Marvell and see what winds up happening. Got the Nvidia short, the Marvell long. I don't know.
The market's trying to bounce here and has a chance to even go green again. So we've got a topping tail, and Intel did jump back into that. But look at the NASDAQ. Start to hold the line. Let's show you a little bit better here. Some of the overnight levels. Does not get into any of the support from the morning, which is down about 150 points lower if you're looking at the NQs. SMCI, again, just one of the stronger names out there. It's consolidating 34 to 34.5, so I'm going to scalp inside of the range so long as we are able to, and then see if we can't get back into the highs. Again, should have held on to the short, didn't. Now looking for the long to try and take us back to the promised land. There was a topping tail on Intel, so I just jumped back in on the way back into the downside. Maybe greedy, not taking the 137.5, but it's about 139.25. That's where the resistance has been. So I'm out kind of in front of that, see if it can hold this line and then drop back into low of the day. So still the same two names, and I have yet to get back into IBIT and Bitcoin. It just hasn't really broken the trend. So being pretty patient. We tried at VWAP, it doesn't hold VWAP, but I want to see the trend line hold. It can get down a little bit further before you're pulling back into Thursday's tops. That's 36.5 approximately. So that's the level I'd like to see before really just sort of trading it off of a price level. Otherwise, it's got to be that trend break. We do have a super chat if we can throw it up there. It is from D Sam. SPX need to buy now or wait? Well, no one needs to do anything. The market doesn't have to. The market doesn't care. It doesn't need to do. It's going to do whatever it wants to. If it doesn't hold at Thursday's lows, that's a pretty key price level. Obviously, like you care about that kind of support. Like you held it on all of the down moves, and there's a pretty hefty gap on the SPY underneath 3 on the ES. Call it 75.3 if you're looking at the actual futures. So yeah, you're at a pretty key level, but it doesn't have to do anything, right? Like the market have to do anything. Right? Like the markets, just because it's at support doesn't mean it's going to bounce. Like you take your shots when something's at support, and you enter the long in the hopes that it holds, and then you have an obvious stop underneath. But the SPY could easily break that low. The same way SMCI could break this low. Just because it's in an uptrend doesn't mean it has to continue. There's nothing guaranteed like that in trading.
No, of course not. And I mean, we're covering also down there at 165. I mean, if you're going to go long, I think, to answer your question, yeah. I mean, it depends, like Neil said, on your time frame there and what you're thinking about, a possible downside drift through that 150. I mean, CBRS was 185, right? Cerebras, that's the level that they were thinking. The insiders got long at 185. It does pop into 350 there, which is where everybody caught the long there off the open. Like if you were doing the opening trade, or if you had said, I really like this IPO, and then not to compare the two. I mean, one is, led by Elon Musk, and I don't know if anybody knows who's leading this one.
Nobody.
But to the downside there is Cerebras. And I was just going to say, like, this has given you now, and this has been let's call it a month. It's May 14th right there. So, we're into the late stages of June now. After about a month or so, it gave a range where we finally got a little comfortable, where you could look at this as a stock and say, okay, based on, my mapping, and, the bids could come at $2 and the offers at 240. So now you're trading in this range. So if you like the name and maybe you want to wait for an earnings call or something like that, you can get Cerebras down there at 201 and then wait to see what winds up happening. But that's part of it all. Let the stock settle down, I think, is always decent advice. So, we're giving that a little bit of a break there. Nvidia, Adara, we're just going to cover a little bit more there. Out now at 206, 209.60s. We did get some more there in the 50s. Looks like we're trying to build a wall right now. So I'm going to wait for 210.50. What's up, Adara?
We have Money Talks, and there actually is some news here for Money Talks, so we'll get right into it. Here is the US dollar versus the yen. As you can see, there were two specific moments where you had volume spikes and significant drops here on the USD JPY. The first one comes here around 10:06 a.m. This is when you hear reports of suspected intervention here with the yen. Then we get another drop a couple minutes ago. This comes as we get reports that the finance minister of Japan, Katayama, and U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent held an emergency online meeting. So keep an eye here. Yen-USD relationship looking pretty interesting. Let's also take a look here at the DXY here on the daily chart, just to zoom out. Pretty wild spikes. We had a massive spike into that 101 area on Thursday. Now today we get a spike just slightly lower, but either way, not really sustained. Let's see if we actually get some follow through with these spikes to the upside. This day does not have any economic data of note or at all. We had some comments from Fed's Waller, he mentioned the dollar, but nothing massive. But let's talk about the CME FedWatch tool because we're seeing increased odds of a hike. As you can see here, the CME FedWatch tool, this is for the July 29th meeting, so that's going to be the next meeting that we have here. 64% chance, more or less, of rates being held in place, but a 36% chance that we'll get a 25 basis point hike. If you look here at the probabilities going forward, if I can adjust it, there you go. We're seeing that we could get a hike, or rather the probabilities favor a hike as early as September. So the second meeting that we're going to get after this next meeting, September 2026, we also could get a hike there in 25 basis point hike in October of 28. We are expecting also potentially a hike. This could get us all the way to that 400, 425 level by December. B of A speaking earlier today saying that they see 3 Fed hikes this year. Let's see if that comes to fruition. But either way, very hawkish look on the CME FedWatch tool. Back to you.
Yeah. I was just saying, Sharif just sitting back down there is wondering what's going on. I was like, yeah, just SpaceX. I mean, this is going to be the P&L number 1 there, SpaceX to the downside. So we're really happy with that. And not only that, but we reloaded it, have that confidence, in the positions and just put that through. And that's what we did. So now I'm bidding 165 as well. It's time for lunch. Okay, man, today's the best day of all time.
Time?
Yeah, well, it's been the best days of all time so far, so you should be able to guess what it is. It's a Canadian flag. Whether or not this is Canadian or not, it is buttermilk fried damn chicken right there. So we're going to go bang, 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 bang. We've always had successful fried chicken. So
you can't screw
you
up.
can mess it up.
I mean, you can, but
so we're going to wait for that one. So it's crispy buttermilk fried chicken. Good day trading.
That's right, Joe.
Good day for lunch.
Joe's already shaking his head.
I don't know about these guys. These guys are too much. All right, Joe will like it, man. Joe, this is a Catino Wilson Capital sponsored lunch. He'll be fine. Creamy mashed potatoes. Could pass on those. Roasted seasoned vegetables and then a mixed green salad.
Good. Now the vegetables.
It stopped at crispy buttermilk fried chicken. That's it.
Vegetables have been good lately.
Oh, I love the vegetables. We'll have that and then the mixed salad. So I think because it doesn't have the U.S. flag.
No biscuit.
Yeah, you no biscuits, and then we don't have the mac and cheese, which sometimes it will come with that. But again, a success on today's What's for Lunch. And so I just want to say, you gotta be able to review your trades even intraday as they're happening. Look at Nvidia is now 80 cents in the money when we were first short and we took a couple cuts there, and now it's to the downside. And it's just these were longs, and then there's the reverse short. So long even took profit on the long, then took the short again, took the long again. It didn't work. We talked about getting out, and then we went into the short, and now you are dollar clubbing.
What is wrong with the?
I don't know, the speaker's off. Now we're dollar clubbing here on Nvidia to the downside. So be able to reverse into that short, I think, very, very key. It's something that we want to keep on doing moving forward. If we do see downside plays like that, we want to have the ability to reverse in. Go over to our watch list, go over to our Instagrams, our Twitter, give us all a follow, and you'll be able to see all of these trades coming through. IBIT might be the next long, as that's just hit back through 65,000.
Yeah, it just came back through 65, but it broke the trend, so I'm in the consolidation. We'll look for VWAP first, and if it breaks VWAP, about 36.90 into 37 will be the play for me on IBIT. So again, it was stronger at the open, but it's been trending down. We're still in that Intel short and still had the last piece of SMCI. So Intel, another reload at the 139, just looking for 38. And then LOD. I haven't reloaded SMCI, and I don't think I will this time. It's consolidating. We've been scalping inside of the range. You either break it back out or you don't at this point. Probably should have stuck with the short. But, it's not like the long has been bad. It just hasn't really followed through. But that's because the market. At some point, the market's just too weak. The NASDAQ firmly in the red, down 0.5. We were just talking about the ES, and it didn't have to bounce. It was trying to, but didn't have to. It's through Friday's or Thursday's lows, I should say. Through Thursday's lows, now down 0.5% itself. So, the market is not really holding up its end of the bargain. We started strong, but it looks like we're going to end a little bit weak. Tesla apparently dead. Some people are saying in the chat that Tesla's not looking very good. Yeah, Tesla losing VWAP and heading to $400. Still green. Still green. Still good. Still good. 5-second rule. Could bounce off that 400 level. It closed at about 400. So that's a place to watch. And we did talk pretty decently about, I know SpaceX is absolutely flushing, but it was Rocket Labs, RKLB, one of the other names that is languishing. It lost that $100 level, now down 9%. This was the line that it needed to hold, but also remember, these guys were sell the news too, because Rocket Lab went into the NASDAQ 100. SpaceX went into the S&P. Rocket Lab and Astera went into the NASDAQ. There was a couple of other names that went into the NASDAQ, and they're all sell the news today. This is down almost 9% here on RKLB. Yeah, not looking too good for them at all.
No, Unity does not
Unity,
work.
yeah.
Does not work today.
So, one thing we haven't done is a poll, which I don't know what I want to do. Closing price for SpaceX, maybe?
Sure. I think
165, let's say. Okay. Will SpaceX close? No, not 165. What's it at now?
168.
Well, 170 then. Above or
shorter.
below 170? How about this?
Yeah,
we didn't do a poll this morning because it's at 168, so we'll give.
Yeah,
it
why not? I give it that.
Okay, so above or below, and this is binary. It's 1 or 2. So above or below. Will SpaceX close above or below 170? All you got to do is type 1 or 2 in the chat, and we'll leave this one up for the midday. They can keep it. I'm going to get my vote in here as well because I think we're looking reddish on that one. I think I'm going to get my stink bid tomorrow on SpaceX. We'll see. But the votes are overwhelmingly below. 75%, immediately 75%. So 83% and continuing to climb. So very bearish, apparently, on SpaceX as we're holding out. Well, it's not about Elon. Sharif just said people don't like Elon. I think it's just a matter of this is what IPOs do. Like they make their close to highs near their birthday, and then they just spend some time falling after that. And then you look for that, the opportunity to buy the dips. And I think that's just beginning now here with SpaceX. That's all.
Yeah, I think everybody voting under will be wrong. I think it'll close above 370. So that would my vote. I'll go against the grain on that one. It's always easy to swim with the fishes. We'll go against them. Right there. Yeah, I don't sleep with them. But yeah, that's what we're going to do there on SpaceX. So even though I'm short, I still think we can climb and beat VWAP there. I'm going to give it another, again, I think there's going to be a late day run. I still think there's potentially another flush coming in on SpaceX. And then, you know what? A lot of SpaceX is going to depend, honestly, on what happens at the end of the day. I mean, we did get, like, look at this move there. From 320 on Friday or Thursday, we went from 179 to 190 there in about 20 minutes. So there's still a lot of juice in SpaceX, and then it falls down. We talked about the imbalances and everything, and it came right back in. So we'll see. I mean, look, I don't know who's going to be right or wrong on a poll, but there it is right now. We just broke through. So we got out. We did really. Like I told you, it's PL number 1 is SpaceX, and we'll just wait. I'm going to wait to 172 break. So we're going to short it up into 172. So bear with me. I'm going to hit the gym. We'll be back. That's where my stop is. So we'll take some at 170, and we'll give it up to 172 on that one. Nvidia's been good, man, obviously, as that reversal. We put a couple tweets out about that one. And I just think it's so important to be able to take a hit, get out of it, and flip up your mind sometimes when that goes down, right? So you got to be careful with Nvidia. I am going to try this up to 210.50. So that's going to be another area for me, 210.50 coming through. And then after that, man, the clean loss that we have today is Palantir, because it's not even clean. It's just, this is what happened. We got out. We didn't keep on getting back into it. And there was no reversal. And here's different, right? It's still different than Nvidia because I don't see a strong reversal reason there. If we were going long based on here, down to 125, and we broke 125, then I would think that would have been a short. But we didn't do it at 125, so we pass on that one. And now we just wait for SpaceX. Honestly, that's the next one. We're going to short 170. Hopefully that comes in. Looks like it's going to come in right there. Like I said, everybody that voted underneath was at 166, 167.50 or something. When you voted, it's already $1. This thing's very volatile.
Very. There's also a halt.
So who knows?
Be 10 minutes. We're going to throw over to the midday. It's probably past 11 o'clock. FRGT. Don't know the company, but I'm sure it'll be on the It'll probably be on Sharif's radar, assuming it's a small cap. If it's halted, I'm assuming it's a small capper, but it's a 10-minute halt here, and there's absolutely no liquidity, which is probably the reason why. If it's not 5, it's 10. If it's not 10, then they just sort of make it up as they go along, and it can be as long as they want. We're going to enjoy some fried chicken. Come back at 2 o'clock. It's going to be delicious. But you're going to have... Joe hit the fail on the fried chicken. Okay, so Joe says he didn't hit the fail. I don't know who hit the fail.
Sharif did. Anything fried, Sharif's going to say no.
It's delicious.
His body's a temple, blah, blah, blah.
We're going to enjoy it. My body is a temple because I enjoy feeding it good food.
You know, the thing is, honestly, good food is the spice of life. Like, there's no... That's why I go into the gym.
Got to enjoy.
I'll just put it all back on with the fried chicken. I understand that.
Live your life.
But that's 100%, man. I don't.
Live your life. Let's go to the midday. We're gonna enjoy our food.
We'll fool around with this. All right, see you guys.
Oh, I saw
After, yeah, you caught the initial heat.
And always like that, man.
Subsequent heat.
Dude, on so many occasions, Neil's like, Joe and me, I'm like, dude, I'm just like, can I not do something for once? You know,
because you were probably smiling when you looked over, right? Greetings and salutations, beautiful people. Welcome to the Midday Show. That is your boy, Joey Options. I am Sharif, and we're going to wait for everybody to come on over from the other stream because, well, YouTube's dragging their feet a little